as observed by most, in support of those who've perished in Libya and Morocco. Our thoughts with everybody involved and those affected by the two disasters. Southampton just going into a huddle away to our left-hand side before this game gets underway. Saints in a shirt that is very reminiscent of that from the late 1980s, with a red half and pink and white striped other half, and it's better than it sounds. Leicester in all blue, and Leicester will defend the Chapel End away to our right hand side in this first half, and we're underway. 4 years ago, it was an autumnal Friday night at St Mary's that rewrote history for both Southampton and Leicester. So much has happened since. The Foxes went second in the Premier League after the 9 goals that night, but they now find themselves back in the second tier. And on the front foot straight away with the ball laid back for Vardy, who scores. And it's taken only 20 seconds for Leicester City to strike. Excellent play by Mavididi to get inside the penalty area. Pulled back for Vardy, and he had time to set himself, get it onto his left foot, fire it into the net. Jamie Vardy scoring his 172nd Leicester City goal, and they lead at Southampton with 20 seconds on the clock.
What a start, what a mess from a Southampton perspective. From kick-off almost, Kyle Walker-Peters into midfield, already tactically trying something a little bit different. Charles getting on the ball, it's really sloppy from him. Then Mavididi just turns on the afterburners. Wonderful little exchange initially with Vardy, and then he finds the marksman once more. Penalty spot, left-footed. Mavididi, brilliant supply, and Vardy just sweeps it home. Beautiful stuff.
Perfect start for Leicester City as they look for a 6th win in 7 tonight. Victory will take them back to the top of the table. Southampton could go up to second if they win and Hull don't, but if Southampton are going to win, they're going to have to do it the hard way. And already the first shout from a Southampton fan not too far from us of "sort it out" is prevalent. Mavididi having his shirt pulled in the midfield, has got another ball inside the penalty area. It's ricocheted away. Dewsbury Hall helps it on, and Didi tries his luck. That was on target and blocked by Flynn Downs before it got as far as the diving Bazunu, and then Adams wins a free kick. A Dozier, beg your pardon, and last a little bit of respite really as far as Southampton are concerned, who haven't had a touch of the ball in Leicester territory so far. A torrid opening couple of minutes in keeping with the 5-0 defeat that they had a fortnight ago at Sunderland last time out. And this will be a real test of nerve and character, not just the early concession, but the fact that it's happened on the back of that thumping defeat on Wearside.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was a simple pass on there for Ricardo Pereira to Mavididi on the left-hand side. Made a mess of it. Had to bring Adozi down in the end. Fortunate to escape without a booking, possibly, but ferocious start from the visitors. A perfect start.
And just to clear up the Leicester formation, there was plenty of conjecture amongst the pair of us of exactly how things were going to be. Justin is playing on the right-hand side of the back line. Ricardo Pereira, as you would imagine, the side coached by Enzo Maresca, who's learnt so much coaching trade under Pep Guardiola, is playing in that inverted full-back role in midfield. Leicester will bring the ball forward. And just too much on the pass for Ndidi. So Jamie Vardy leading the line, Mavididi on the left and McAteer on the right, and Dewsbury Hall is playing as almost an advanced 10 with Harry Winks alongside Ndidi, but Pereira will drop into that centre of midfield, and they're trying to play out from the back. Southampton, they've given it away. Dewsbury Hall though can't make the most of the chance. Harry Winks can't either to break Dewsbury Hall's way again, and it deflects wide and out of play for a corner. And you can hear the reaction of the Southampton fans. 3.5 minutes gone, they should be 2-0 down, with the ball just inexplicably given away as they've tried to pass out from the back, and Keelan Dewsbury Hall can't believe that he's not made the most of the chance.
I think the best chance is the initial one when he's presented the ball by Harwood Bellis. I think Dewsbury Hall has to hit it. He tries a reverse pass towards Jamie Vardy, who would have been in an offside position. Then Harwood Bellis, brilliant challenge on Harry Winks. Dewsbury Hall with the follow-up effort just screws wide of the post.
So the first Leicester City corner, which will be taken on the left-hand side by Dewsbury Hall. 4 minutes gone, Southampton 0, Leicester 1 here on Talksport 2. Now it's played short for Dewsbury Hall again, left-hand side of the penalty area from the short corner by McAteer, who wanted the return pass. Dewsbury Hall fizzed in a cross that was too fast and high, and it goes out of play from a Southampton throw, which they've taken from the wrong place, but have got away with it. They were desperate to try and restart play and nicked about 15 yards. Saints have maintained possession but worked it back to the edge of their own penalty area. And here's Shay Charles, one of the summer signings. He's come from Manchester City. Played down the right-hand touchline. Will Smallbone finding Edozie. Edozie, a little reverse ball inside the area. Adams, the angle's tight, and the cross just evaded Edozie on the edge of the 6-yard box. Great covering work by James Justin. Southampton leaky at the back. Excellent going forward. We've seen that in the opening 5 minutes. And now Saints have their first corner.
Very similar to which we saw for the opening goal in terms of a centre-forward linking with a wide player. Edozie following his pass, sending Che Adams a little wide so he couldn't take the strike on himself, but the reverse ball really close to finding Edozie. In fact, I'm surprised he didn't get there, Jim. Looked like he was there.
So first Southampton corner had to be taken on the right flank. Left-footed in, swinging delivery towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Took a Leicester flick and then a much more authoritative touch got it away. Smallbone mops up, lays it back for Gavin Bazunu, who still waits for his first clean sheet of the season. In fact, he's kept only 5 in 43 Southampton appearances now, the Irishman. Long ball forward from him. Edozie tried to flick it on towards Che Adams. Mopped up again by Justin. And he can shepherd it back for his goalkeeper, the Danish player Mads Hermansen, another one of Leicester's summer signings. He came from Brøndby in a £5 million deal. He too waiting for his first clean sheet for his new club. If that happens tonight, Leicester will have won and they will be back top of the table. They lead here 1-0. Jamie Vardy scored a hat-trick on the night of the famous 9-0, scoring after 20 seconds this evening. Leicester have the ball in the midfield. They then lay it back for Hermansen, who takes a touch on the edge of the D. 4 from him through the midfield for Winks. And then Yannick Vestergaard just allows Doyle to play it forward. It comes off Edozie. Goes out of play for a throw to be taken on the Leicester City left. Here's Sam Parkin, the former Swindon striker. Yeah,
I think Southampton will be pleased that there's a little lull in the game, that they've also been able to conjure an attack of their own. In terms of the setups, identical almost. The job that Ricardo Pereira is doing for Leicester, Carl Walker-Peters is tasked with that. He's going in field. There has been a look of Southampton just kind of with the 2 centre-halves and the 2 full-backs inverting in front of that, alongside one sitting midfielder. But at the moment, Walker-Peters is the one who's doing the Ricardo Pereira gig and going in and joining in the midfield.
Hermansen playing it for Dewsbury Hall, rescued a pass that came through the midfield. It wasn't hit particularly strongly. Flynn Downs has got his foot on the ball now in the midfield for Southampton. The player who was known to Russell Martin, having played for him at Swansea. And he's arrived here on loan from West Ham. Leicester picking it up again. And the local youngster Casey McAteer can bring it forward down the right-hand side of the area. And Mavididi at the far post is unmarked, but the cross not good enough to find him. And Walker-Peters was just about there to cover anyway by the time the ball got there. It's out of play. It's a goal kick that Bazunu will take. 8 minutes gone here on Talksport 2. Southampton 0, Leicester City 1.
Disappointing delivery. They're well stocked in the middle there, Leicester. 4 players, I think, made the 18-yard box. It's a poor delivery from McAteer. What I will say, Jim, I missed it when it went in. I think McAteer actually gets the assist for the opening goal with a really clever little set for Jamie Vardy when it was played in field from Mavididi. So it's been a really good start from the 2 wide boys.
Now Doyle and Vestergaard for cross purposes and give it away. And Che Adams brings it forward towards the edge of the Leicester penalty area and forces a good save from Hermansen. Diving to his left-hand side, did well to get a strong top hand to it. Beat it past the post and out of play for a corner. What an entertaining start of this game.
Yeah, brilliant start. Didn't quite maybe get the height on that strike, I would say. It made it comfortable enough for Hermansen to get over and make the stop, but Leicester this time really weak in possession, trying to play across the back 4, just presenting it to the Southampton player.
So another Southampton corner. Armstrong has come across the tape, the Southampton captain. Another left-footed in-swinging delivery towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Vestergaard, the tallest player on the pitch, gets it away. Back from Smallbone and then Walker-Peters. Leicester clear it. Smallbone, the deepest of Southampton's outfield players, has got a hair back, but he won the race. Ahead of the pacey Mavididi, got it back for Bazunu. He clears it, long, right-footed upfield. And Armstrong has won a throw, which will be taken on the Southampton right-hand side by Walker Peters. Walker Peters just taking a breath for a moment before restarting play. It has been played as we expected at a ferocious tempo so far. Southampton 0, Leicester 1 the score.
Jim, there, Mavididi has very nearly got in from a Southampton corner kick. I don't know if it's pure stupidity or if it's wonderfully brave, but Will Smallbone is the deepest Southampton player, 25-30 yards from the Leicester goal. It doesn't even have to be accurate, does it? It just has to be put into an area, a clearance. Mavididi is in on goal beyond Will Smallbone there, so it's an incredibly brave setup from Russell Martin and his side.
Yeah, Leicester in possession, able to bring it away inside their own half here. Something I first saw Thomas Frank do with Brentford when they were a championship side before their promotion, and it is ferociously brave.
Conceded from it, did they not, in the playoffs?
Against Bournemouth in that playoff semi-final, absolutely. And I remember speaking to him after the game, and he said, well, look, that's what we do. And yeah, it comes with an inherent risk, but if you look at it over the course of the season, from every time we do it, we think we'll gain more by doing it than the odd aberration where it all goes wrong. Clearly Russell Martin has read that particular playbook, but you need Smallbone in this case for Southampton, someone who can be unflustered and has pace to get back. Now Southampton on the front foot here, trailing 1-0. Walker Peters fouled by Doyle. That's a free kick which will be taken on the Southampton right, a couple of yards in from the touchline and about 15 yards or so outside the penalty area. A decent response from Southampton after a hopeless opening 5 minutes where Leicester scored so early and should have had a second.
Yeah, absolutely. They got away with one when Harwood Bellis gave the ball away, but they've been able to cement their position in this game, if you like. Carl Walker Peters has had a wonderful start to the season. I've really enjoyed watching him. He's not sulked. If he anticipated maybe getting a Premier League move, he's been very good, and that was a good little bit of feet getting away from Doyle on the right-hand side.
Yeah, he's playing his 150th career game tonight, the former Tottenham defender. A free kick taken for Southampton across the face of Walker Peters, and again, he and Smallbone that time just at cross purposes, and the ball inexplicably rolled past the pair of them and straight to a Leicester man, and they'll be able to break now quickly down the right-hand side. McAteer's ball in, not high enough, and Southampton able to head it away courtesy of Manning. But that was just a free kick taken from the right-hand touchline. Rather than punting it forward, they wanted to keep possession, and the two players left of the ball both thought it was going to go to the other.
Incredible, wasn't it? Just singing the praises of Carl Walker Peters. I mean, that wasn't hesitation. That was almost as if the pair of them had been paused for what felt like 3 or 4 seconds. Absolutely incredible. And Harry Winks turned down the opportunity to play forward, going back, or went square. It was surely on for Leicester to get another opportunity on the Southampton goal.
Now ball out of play for a throw that will be taken by Southampton. There's one other game in the Championship tonight. Just over 10 minutes ahead of us in that game. Kicked off slightly late, the MKM, and is still Hull 0, Coventry 0. And a game of note in the Bundesliga this evening as well. Harry Kane scoring for Bayern Munich, his 4th goal for the club, but they have been pegged back coming up the half-time as Bayern Munich 1, Bayer Leverkusen 1. Latest incidentally from the Rugby World Cup. New Zealand off to a good start with a couple of Roygaard tries. They lead Namibia 12 points to 0. Keep you up to date with that as well. Here's Will Smallbone bringing it forward for Southampton, letting fly, winning another corner. It's a good block because it looked from here and we were right behind it, so it's going to go into the top left-hand corner, but very well blocked by Doyle on the edge of the box, and it spins behind into the hoardings in front of those Leicester supporters for another corner, Southampton's 3rd.
Yeah, terrific bit of play from Adam Armstrong. The first time really he's got in a little half space, able to get turned. Smallbone's got this in his armoury, shooting from distance. It's a really good block from Doyle.
So another Southampton corner that Manning's going to come across to take. And again, Smallbone, the deepest of Southampton's outfield players, is almost within touching distance of the D on the edge of the box. If Leicester win the first ball, they've got a great chance on the counter. It is headed away by Vestergaard. Out only as far as Walker Peters. In towards Adozi. Good first touch from him. Then right-footed, he's clipped it in, but Hermansen can come out and claim it very comfortably. Under a little bit of pressure from Adam Armstrong. But the tall Danish goalkeeper has the ball safely in his hands and bowls it out for Callum Doyle. So these are the first couple of games in the EFL weekend. We've got more live EFL action tomorrow. A belting game, South Wales derby, Cardiff against Swansea. If you've never been to a South Wales derby, thoroughly recommend it if you ever get the chance to go. Now Southampton might be in. Goalkeeper Hermansen playing out from the back, and he got caught. Doyle lost it. Southampton had 3 inside the penalty area, but the goalkeeper came back and somehow intercepted the pass and goes out of play for a corner. This has not been a defensive masterclass tonight.
Good fun though, isn't it? Harry Winks, the guilty party on that occasion, just presenting the ball there. He's looked really slick in possession. He receives it back to goal and just presents it to Will Smallbone. I thought there was question of offside, but he wasn't, Jay Adams.
In comes the corner, and he's taken a touch, and Hermansen jumped and made himself big and got nothing on it at all, but neither did the Southampton player. Hermansen ends up picking the ball up and then throws it out, but too long for Mavadidi, and he goes out of play for a throw on the near touchline, the Southampton right, which Smallbone will take. How have we only seen 1 goal in the opening 15 minutes? It's easy to see how neither of these two sides have been able to keep a clean sheet so far. Hull haven't been able to keep a clean sheet tonight either, been in good form this season, but they trail at home to Coventry with a goal from Joel Lafibodiere. And the former Swansea defender has made it 1-0 to Coventry in the East Riding of Yorkshire tonight. Here's Adam Armstrong, who's been in really good goal-scoring form. 4 goals in his last 3 games here. Wonderful record in the Championship. 11 in his last 8 games at this level, although he did struggle in the Premier League, but he's been ripping it up in the Championship at the start of this season and in his time at Blackburn as well. Here's Manning, forward into halfway. Adams trying to play the ball on the half turn, spins it forward, but couldn't find Armstrong. And the ball goes through to Hermansen, plays it out, finds Harry Winks in the midfield, gives Winks the instruction to turn. Armstrong then comes across and puts the pressure on. But Leicester are able to maintain possession at the back easily enough. And I would imagine, we were talking about the amount of possession that both of these sides have had over the course of this season, and Southampton have had more possession than any other side in any of the 4 divisions so far. It's probably just about Leicester that are shading it tonight. It'd be a close run thing anyway. I thought that Leicester would be happy to sit back and let Southampton come at them, and then would try and pick them off on the counter, more than has happened tonight.
Yeah, I would say that Leicester's squeeze has probably been a bit more aggressive. The midfield players, you mentioned it early, Jim, about Dewsbury Hall's starting position. He's really high, and actually now we're seeing it man for man essentially around the 18-yard box of Southampton when they're trying to build, and there we go, Bazunu has to go long. And I think there's a massive onus on the goalkeepers in both sides, clearly, but I think the way that Leicester are setting up, how aggressive they've been from the outset, it means that Bazunu is going to have to box clever, really. They're going to have to find a pass, a longer pass, into someone who's going to be freed up higher up the pitch.
Now we're 17 minutes in. Southampton 0, Leicester 1. Hull 0, Coventry 1. That Cardiff-Swansea game I was talking about before, Leicester try to press self-destruct inside their own penalty area, is live here on Talksport 2. This time tomorrow, 7:45 kickoff. Joe Shannon alongside Chris Iwelumo. Then Sunday lunchtime, Millwall Leeds in the Championship kicks off at 12. Southampton give it away again. Dewsbury Hall, what a pass! He should be 2-0, it is. Brilliantly taken. And it's all about the quality of the pass from Dewsbury Hall. McAteer running onto it, did the easy bit, drew the goalkeeper, slots it past him. Southampton unpicked again. Leicester running right on the south coast. Southampton 0, Leicester 2.
The plan at the moment, stroking the ball around, making angles, being accomplished on the ball, everything that I'm sure Russell Martin wants from his team is just a miss at the moment. Kyle Walker-Peters the latest to make an error, and this time it ends up in a goal. You're right, Jim, it's brilliant from Dewsbury Hall, and the finish from McAteer is absolutely wonderful, but Kyle Walker-Peters not under, well, he's sold a little short actually. It goes a yard or so away from him, means he has to stretch, and then the pass and then the run is immaculate from Leicester City's perspective. Give them credit, but cannot give the ball away in this type of position against a quality outfit, or as this is the outcome.
Well, it's only the second Leicester game in which he's ever scored. Casey McAteer got a couple in the win at Rotherham. Leicester's away record this season is perfection. Play 4, 1-4 in all competitions, and it looks as though they may well be able to add to that tonight, leading 2-0 away from home against the Southampton side relegated from the Premier League with them last season. Southampton 0, Leicester 2. Vardy after 20 seconds, McAteer on 18. And Southampton bring it forward again with Manning. Manning to Adam Armstrong on the left-hand side of the midfield. Now Ryan Fraser has it. We haven't seen too much of the Scotsman so far tonight. Back for Manning. High ball in from him. He sails over Hermansen's bar. It probably, realistically, should be Southampton 2, Leicester 4 by now. Leicester do have that 2-goal advantage. They've been palpably the better side from what we've seen so far. They haven't made quite as many 24-carat errors defensively as their hosts, and that has been a major part of it. But the pass from Dewsbury Hall was absolutely exquisite for that second goal.
Really was, yeah. It was Smallbone, wasn't it, who gave the stray pass, if you like. Certainly it made Kyle Walker-Peters stretch and unable to take possession of the ball, and I think it's because of the way that Southampton set up, Jim, the way that they're rotating, the way that they're obviously a little bit disjointed when they're in possession, because they're trying to play such a pretty football, if you like. Expansive football is the word I'm searching for. When it breaks down so quickly like that, they get exploited.
Vestergaard slides in and times his challenge to perfection right on the edge of the penalty area to put it out of play for a Southampton throw. Taken quickly by Adam Armstrong. Into the feet of Downs to Manning, and now back for Harwood Bellis. He finds Adozie. Now Shea Charles has got it inside the heart of midfield. High ball forward from Charles out towards the far touchline. Justin heads that away. Russell Martin's talked in the past about the fact that the game plan is right. I'm going to paraphrase what he said after the defeat to Sunderland, but the gist of it was the game plan was right, it's just the execution of it that wasn't. What do? You don't look for a new game plan, you just do the existing game plan to a higher standard. Has he got the game plan wrong tonight, or is it, again, it's just another question from Southampton's point of view that they've just made mistakes that have killed them? And Smallbone finding Armstrong. Armstrong out to the left-hand side of the area. Fraser with time to wrap his foot around it. Flick header comes towards goal, and then it was nearly an own goal. As one Leicester player cleared it into another. And it hit Mavididi last after the acrobatics from Ndidi. And ends up going out of play for a corner. Corner which has been taken short, but too quickly for the referee's liking. Walker-Peters spotted it down and quickly knocked it into the feet of Adozie. I don't know whether the ball was moving when he took the corner, but referee Bobby Madley, I beg your pardon, asked for it to be retaken. So 2-0 Leicester lead, but they've got a corner to defend here. Top as things stand. Corner works short again towards Adozie, right hand side. He's flicked it in towards the edge of the penalty area. Half cleared. Right footed shot comes in and takes another deflection and goes out of play. It was Fraser's effort through a forest of legs that hit one of those Leicester blue socks and goes out of play for another corner which will be taken on the Southampton left. 6 corners to 1 in Southampton's favour at the moment, but Leicester lead it 2-0 here on Talksport 2. In comes the corner, headed high up in the air. Goalkeeper's lost it, comes out for Walker-Peters. His first touch wasn't the best and it's forced him backwards and out towards the near touchline under pressure from Mavididi. Comes out for Smallbone. It's a lovely pass from such a cultured midfield player, Will Smallbone. Now down towards the left-hand side of the penalty area. Another low ball in, but straight into the hands of goalkeeper Hermansen. We're midway through the first half, and somehow we've only seen the 2 goals. Southampton 0, Leicester 2 on Talksport 2. Here's Sam Parkin.
Did well there, Hermansen. The first occasion, the punch was good. I think he has looked a little susceptible in the early weeks of the season to balls into the box, especially when teams are loading the 6-yard box, but came through that challenge with flying colours, and then a good capture at the near post from the delivery from Harwood Bellis, I think it was, that found himself in a left wing position. Fraser just starting to creep into the game as well. Jim, we've hardly said his name in the opening minutes, but a good delivery, left-footed from the left-hand side, and then a strike.
And now Dewsbury Hall is trying to get in, and Bazunu has come out, and it's hit his foot outside the penalty area when his hands were out, but it didn't hit his hand. Dewsbury Hall trying to flick it past him, having got goal side of Shea Charles, who's having a difficult night. Southampton survive on this occasion. Every time Leicester push forward, it looks as though they're going to score. Harwood Bellis will get it upfield. Cleverly flicked down by Adams, finding Armstrong. Back out for Shea Adams. Adam Armstrong's continued his run, but Vestergaard watches the ball. Doyle, I beg your pardon, who was over right in front of Vestergaard, has just safely shepherded it back to his goalkeeper. And so I'm going back to that point I was making about the Southampton game plan. Is it the wrong game plan? Is it poor execution of the right game plan?
I think Russell Martin will still say it's the execution. It's been sloppy moments on the ball in possession where they haven't been really aggressively pressed or closed down. So, but I think the same token, I think you have to sometimes adapt to what the opponent is doing, and I think they've really stepped on, and they've got real quick, diminutive players, Leicester City. So I think it's a little bit of both, but very, very avoidable goals.
And now it's been given away by Doyle at the other end, and Dozy is in. He's clipped it past the goalkeeper, and Southampton are back in the game. And it's another defensive error that has led to the goal. Mistake by Doyle, and Dozy running onto it, right-hand side of the penalty area. Had time to get there ahead of the advancing Hermansen. As soon as he won that particular battle, he's never going to miss. Flicked it past him, and in Samuel Dozy, scoring only his second goal for the club. And it's Southampton 1, Leicester 2.
We're certainly getting value for money. Everyone watching at home will be thoroughly enjoying this, but both clubs on view supporters will be really concerned by this. Again, Doyle tries a little intricate step over or something, not sure what it is, but in the end it's just whether Dozy can manufacture the clip, the chip, willing him to do it from our vantage point. And he takes it on brilliantly. It's well set up, Che Adams, lovely weight on the pass, and then Dozy just clips it superbly over the incoming goalkeeper.
So like Bazunu, Hermansen still waits for his first clean sheet of the season. Southampton 1, Leicester 2. Ricardo Pereira in the midfield, back for Yannick Vestergaard. There's a game taking place in League 2 tonight, incidentally, coming up for half-time. Notts County lead at Salford 1-0. David McGoldrick scored that. It stays that way. They will go top, 2 points clear at the top of League 2 tonight. Salford 0, Notts County 1. And it remains Hull 0, Coventry 1 in the other game that's taking place in the Championship. And that one 10-11 minutes ahead of this. Southampton 1, Leicester 2, live on Talksport 2. I told you earlier that Cardiff take on Swansea tomorrow at 7:45 here on 2. Millwall in action against Leeds, mouth-watering Sunday lunchtime encounter. And then you can tune into EFL All Access, Talksport 2 every Monday at 6. Hugh Wozencroft alongside the former Arsenal midfielder Adrian Clark discussing all the big stories and scorelines from the weekend's football. Show also available as a podcast if you miss it. So just search EFL All Access wherever you get your podcasts. I can already tell you, whatever happens from here on in, this game will be very high on the agenda. Between two of the big hitters in the division. I mentioned earlier, two clubs who between them over the course of the summer sold £250 million worth of players. So both have had a complete rehash. Both have made at times a bit of a hash of things tonight, certainly defensively, but it's made for an epic encounter. We're still inside the opening half hour, on target for 9 goals again tonight in a match between Southampton and Leicester, but it's not going to be Leicester who have the monopoly this evening. Justin getting the ball away. Southampton on the front foot. Armstrong, Downs, back for Manning, and the left back, another player that Russell Martin had and working for him at Swansea, playing it through the midfield. Here is Adam Armstrong trying to play a ball which took a deflection into the path of Mavadidi. He's lost it as quickly as he got it. Goes from Downs to Smallbone. Manning back out to the left-hand side for Fraser on loan from Newcastle, the former Bournemouth man. Back for Will Smallbone on the edge of the penalty area. 3 Leicester players quickly converged on him. So he played it to his left-hand side for Manning, who then makes a sprinting run down the left-hand side of the penalty area as he pushed McAteer there. No, referee says it is a Leicester ball, but it's a throw down by the corner flag rather, I think, than a free kick. 28 gone, Southampton 1, Leicester 2.
Good little passage of play, built a little bit of momentum now, keeping the ball more. Maybe what we anticipated seeing from Southampton. Just thinking there, Jim, the only team really so far this season that sat off Southampton was Sheffield Wednesday, opening night, and they absolutely dominated proceedings. They'll be looking at this now, thinking they absolutely missed the trick that night. Sheffield Wednesday have improved somewhat, but that night, so placid in everything they did. This is the way to play against Southampton in the opening weeks of the season.
Southampton coming into this one, most possession, passes and passing accuracy of any side in all 4 divisions. They've had more than 70% of the ball in all 4 league games that they've played. They've always wanted to play out from the back. That time it was played in towards Will Smallbone, and Dewsbury Hall, along with the other 27,000 people in the crowd, saw it coming. Smallbone just able to smuggle it back to his goalkeeper. There is a time and a place, and the idea always is right. The ball into feet like that, if you can then execute the pass back to the goalkeeper, you're going to be able to play through the press. But it's heart-in-mouth stuff. When Southampton get it wrong, it can be very costly. When they get it right, sometimes they only do so by the merest fractions, and it's heart-in-mouth time. Half an hour gone, Southampton 1, Leicester 2, and an absorbing game for the neutrals. I don't think there are too many of us neutrals in here this evening, but it has been a great watch. What a start of the weekend here on the Talksport network. More Premier League game coming up for you over the course of the weekend, and I'll go through those for you very shortly. A very good evening to listeners joining us on Talksport here at St Mary's. Leicester leading by 2-1, have led since the 22nd mark when Jamie Vardy scored. He got a hat-trick in the 9-0 win here a few years ago, and on target again very early on after Southampton poor defending. 18 minutes later it was 2-0 when Casey McAteer scored after a delightful through ball from Dewsbury Hall. Both sides missed a stack of chances then before Samuel Edozie capitalised on a mistake by Callum Doyle at the other end to make it 2-1. And it's been a very good, watchable encounter on TalkSport 2. Sam Parkin, the former EFL striker, alongside me. Sam, we've been raving about the spectacle, if not necessarily the quality at all times. It's been highly entertaining.
Been a brilliant watch, some comical defending, presented both teams with numerous opportunities to score. There was another one there, Dewsbury Hall finding Jamie Vardy in a really presentable position. His touch let him down, but two teams who are constructing this beautiful football, if you like, or trying to, but at this moment in the season getting it wrong too many occasions. I mean, it's really edge of the seat stuff for both sets of supporters, and yeah, interested onlookers from other championship clubs will be rubbing their hands together and thinking we can get on top of these teams if they persist with this total football. It's not worked to great effect so far tonight.
Southampton in particular, when Leicester apply the press and do so with real intensity, look panic-stricken at times. That has led in part to both of the goals. Will Smallbone's just picked up a yellow card. That's the first of the game. Our live coverage continues over on TalkSport 2. If you've got the TalkSport app, you can easily swipe between the two stations to keep abreast of everything that is going on. But here in Hampshire, it is Southampton 1, Leicester 2, but only after an outstanding save there from Bazunu to deny Wilfred Ndidi a third. Ball tipped away for a corner. And a corner which will be taken on the Leicester left. It was a nice setup. The ball just rolled short to the right-hand side and really rifled a goal by Ndidi, and the goalkeeper did well, diving away to his right-hand side, Bazunu, making a really smart stop.
Jamie Vardy heavily involved tonight so far. You see him go so many games, or we have done in the last season or two, where he's content really to play on the shoulder, not really get involved in build-up play there. Lovely set, Ndidi with a really firm strike.
So in comes the corner from McAteer on the Leicester left. It's off a Southampton head, and they'll do it all again, this time from the other side. Harwood Bellis heading it away. And Dewsbury Hall will go across to take it. It's Leicester's third corner. McAteer short on the edge of the penalty area. Charlie Alcaraz sent out to warm up, along with Stuart Armstrong, getting a warm round of applause from the home support. It's going to be another in-swinging delivery. This one from the Leicester right from Dewsbury Hall. Great shape on it, and it only just evaded Vardy making a near-post run. McAteer's done well to win the seconds outside the penalty area and play it back towards Dewsbury Hall. Clever little backheel flick from him. McAteer will take it down towards the dead ball line and then check. Can't get across him, but he can find Ndidi, who was there in support. He plays it slightly deeper. Now it goes from Justin to Pereira. Forward again through the midfield from Winks. Dewsbury Hall now towards the Leicester right-hand side. They've still got three in the penalty area if they can get it across. Vardy is lurking. It's knocked away by Shea Charles. Adams tried to hold it up. He loses out to Winks. Winks to Ricardo Pereira, who almost turned into trouble and then very quickly got away from Edozie. Leicester have it, and they're still in Southampton territory with Vestergaard. Vestergaard to Doyle. Doyle back towards his goalkeeper, but he's out almost as an extra centre-half, sweeping up. Sweeper keeper Hermansen about 20 yards outside his own box. Southampton 1, Leicester 2. It remains here on Talksport 2. Doyle able to make his way forward from the back line and find Steffi Mavididi. Mavididi, who's played more games in the French top flight than any other Englishman in history, I was reading today, which will be a good trivia question for you in the pub tomorrow. Dewsbury Hall has been fouled, and it's a free kick, which will be taken down near the corner flag for Leicester. Southampton had a good spell, scored during that, but this last 4 or 5 minutes, Leicester have been back on top again.
Yeah, Dewsbury Hall looked like a player tonight, Jim, but I think Southampton have allowed him to an extent. The corner kick there was half cleared. Southampton had a defensive line across the 18-yard box almost. No one released to Dewsbury Hall. He was able to turn and orchestrate Leicester's next attack. But the little flicks, lovely balance. The left foot always helps, doesn't it? He looks like a good player. He needs to get back to what he showed opening day of the season.
It's played short by Dewsbury Hall, finding Harry Winks. Winks playing it in, and then he fizzed it in towards the near post. It looked as though it was slightly mishit, but Vardy improvised, threw out the right foot and very nearly turned it past Bazunu, who had to be sharp to get his hands behind it. He then bowled it out quickly to try and get Southampton going on the counter-attack. It goes out of play on the far side. Saints fans over in the Kingsland stand on the far touchline thought that Armstrong was fouled, but the referee didn't, and play will restart with a Leicester throw. We've got 9 minutes to go to half-time. It's Southampton 1, Leicester City 2. Vardy on 20 seconds, Casey McAteer on 18 minutes, Adozie on 25, pulling one back. 10 minutes without a goal here. What's going on? Here's Ndidi, right-hand side for Leicester, taken down towards the touchline. Howard Bellis dropping back in alongside Shea Charles. Southampton having to mop up eventually and sweep it clear away from Ndidi, who's having a good night as well. It's gone out for a throw. Justin will go across to take it, the one-time England fullback. Ball in his hands, waiting for a little bit of movement, which Ndidi will provide. He's thrown it actually down towards the dead ball line for McAteer's run. Goes back out for Justin. High steepling cross comes inside the penalty area that evades both Mavididi and Walker-Peters. The Leicester man can wrap his foot around it on the touchline and lay back for Ricardo Pereira. Now to Yannick Vestergaard. Everybody apart from the Leicester keeper inside Southampton territory. Mavadidi's got it again. Dewsbury Hall making a good run off the ball to his left-hand side. Little nutmeg of Smallbone. Right-footed shot, lacked the power. The approach play was brilliant. The finish, less so. Bazunu makes the save and it's still 2-1 Leicester.
It's 4 Southampton players converged on him there. Wonderful skill, the nutmeg. It deserved a better strike than that. Unfortunately, just choked his strike, Mavididi, but wonderful approach play once more.
So we've got 8 minutes to go to half-time here. Southampton 1, Leicester 2. Won't be too much stoppage time at the moment to be added on. They are at half-time in the games at Salford and Hull, where the away teams both lead. Coventry a goal up at Hull, and Notts County going top tonight in League 2, ahead at Salford. Half-time in both of those games. This one 2-1 to Leicester. And Kyle Walker-Peters has got it, latest in the Rugby World Cup. A Mackenzie try for New Zealand has extended their lead 19-3 up against Namibia. Adozie, good ball down the right-hand side of the penalty area. Adozie's still got it. After good interplay with Downs, right-footed ball inside the box. It's taken a little flick. Armstrong coming to meet it. He's not the tallest by any stretch of the imagination, but he's deceptively good in the air, but he couldn't make anything of that. It's half cleared, and then Dewsbury Hall with a rash challenge has side down Walker-Peters. And that's a free kick, and may well be a yellow card for Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. The referee's pointed to another couple of areas on the pitch, indicating that it's for persistent infringement rather than that one challenge in isolation. But Dewsbury Hall, the first Leicester player in the book.
Walker-Peters is sharp, but more than that, he's clever. I think they're just poking it away from Dewsbury Hall as he got back and was overly aggressive, actually, unnecessarily. Looks like a yellow card to me. They've actually freed up Adam Armstrong really cleverly. If it's a tactic, it's excellent, because now that Leicester are squeezing, had great success from it. Bazuno's just clipping little balls into him, and he's finding himself in a lovely little bit of space. So if they've worked that out, it's looking to be a good avenue.
In comes the free kick, heading towards goal. Hermansen looked as though he'd misjudged it and was falling to his left-hand side before the header came in. But the header lacked power from Adams, and as a consequence, he can make a relatively comfortable save.
Yeah, maybe got a deflection, didn't it? It looked like it was a free header on the far post. Lined up, is it Harwood-Bellis? Just gets a run on James Justin, almost off the shoulder actually. Doesn't get the connection. Probably should have been a better attempt than that.
And he's only scored a couple of goals in his career so far. Taylor Harwood-Bellis in just over 100 games. Didn't meet that one cleanly. Ball's gone out. A throw which will be taken on the Southampton right. It's taken by Walker-Peters. Back he goes towards halfway. Charles to Harwood-Bellis. Now Manning into the feet of Downs. Downs to his right-hand side. Southampton making steady progress. Now play a progressive ball between the lines for Edozie. Edozie with a little layoff, finding Flynn Downs. Downs twisting and turning, looking, surveying his options, finding Adam Armstrong. Then he goes back to Downs from Manning. Now into the feet of Smallbone on the edge of the penalty area. Manning's got it again. Fraser can deliver. Vestergaard heads it away. Headed further clear. Vardy coming back, able to flick it on. Dewsbury Hall will make a good run and will be able to help it on into the path of Mavididi. Southampton stretch. Mavididi taking it on inside the box, and Bazunu can make the save with his right thigh. But there were two inside the penalty area. McAteer unmarked at the far post. Mavididi going for goal rather than a teammate. And Leicester's lead is just the one. Adam Armstrong now bringing it forward for Fraser. Fraser will take on Justin. High ball in, but lacked the accuracy that was needed. It ends up just kissing the roof of the net on its way into the hoardings behind the goal. 4 minutes from half-time here on Talksport 2. And Sam Parkinson remains. Leicester City 2-1 up here.
Great chance to get that gap before half-time. I think you're right. I think Mavididi had to go right. He had to go square. Had Vardy and McAteer in support. It came about because Jamie Vardy wins another header, wins another duel in the middle of the pitch. I've not seen him this involved in a game for a long time. He fancies this. I think he's bullied those two young centre-halves. I think he really has. Not running beyond. Not talking about that because that's maybe a thing of old for Jamie Vardy. We're not going to see that as often. I think the aggression, almost a needle with the fans as well, that's been back with him. And I think Harwood-Bellis has not enjoyed this first half. Vardy's roughed him up.
Yeah, absolutely. A recall tonight, Vardy into the Leicester starting lineup for the first time since the opening weekend of the season for a league game, and there weren't many that were anticipating it would happen, but he's been excellent, really, really good. Here's Edozie towards the edge of the penalty area. He takes a deflection off a Leicester player, Ricardo Pereira, working it back to his goalkeeper who wants a second touch. Had the time for it, gets it clear. Vardy again is the man that is fouled, and Harwood-Bellis just barrels into the ground as he tries to win it. And Vardy very cleverly just stopped and initiated the contact, knew that Harwood-Bellis would keep going, and then as soon as the contact was made, Vardy inevitably was going to lose his balance, and it's an easy decision for Bobby Madley to give a free kick Leicester's way. Really good leading of the line from Jamie Vardy. It's in his 12th season with the Foxes now, and I mentioned when he scored, 172 goals he scored, which is some record. It's a rate of about 2 every 5 games. There are strikers that have been more prolific than that, but when you consider how many games he's played, how many goals he's scored, it really is a fantastic return. His place in Leicester folklore always guaranteed after the 24 that he scored in the title-winning season. Here's Flynn Downs, and he's just had his ankles clipped there by Ndidi. It's a free kick that Southampton will take about 10 yards inside their own half.
We've seen less of Walker-Peters going into midfield, I would say, the last 5 minutes, and I don't know why, but it's allowed Downs to get on the ball. Maybe just disrupted Leicester a little bit, asked them a few more different questions, but Downs starting to stroke it around, starting to look accomplished and dominating proceedings for them in that position.
Yeah, he was in strongly there after a loose pass, but he's won it back. Armstrong will bring it forward, but he's lost out to McAteer, scorer of what at the moment is the match winner. And McAteer goes down over on the far side. It's a Leicester throw, indicated by the referee, or is he given a free kick? No, it is a free kick. No, it's a throw. He's just clarifying it to James Justin. No, it's a throw, no foul on McAteer. Justin taking the throw, and he goes back for Yannick Vestergaard, who joined Leicester in a £15 million deal from Southampton. 78 games here. He's been sent off in this fixture in the past in his Southampton days. Good ball inside the penalty area here. Mavididi didn't get hold of it. Coming back into the far side is McAteer. It's cleared. Rifled towards goal by Ndidi. He was going wide. It's deflected. Back out for Ricardo Pereira. Now down for Dewsbury Hall. Bottom left-hand corner of the penalty area. Trying to make a run off the back of Shea Charles, and he's, despite looking second favourite, got there first. And Mavididi will have some explaining to his teammates to do there, because that looked a simple chance that he just scuffed. Didn't get anything like the right angle on it, and flashed a cross goal rather than towards it. And ultimately, the offside flag comes up to curtail the attack. Should be 3-1.
He's been brilliant, apart from the finish in this first half. Kyle Walker-Peters again, I don't know if it's because of the complex setup, but because he's not playing up against Mavididi, he just kind of ambles back there. It's Dewsbury Hall, he gets found by Mavididi, and then Kyle Walker-Peters has got a 5-10 yard head start on him. Mavididi into the space, Dewsbury Hall with the execution on the pass, and as you said, he shanks his finish somewhat, but that can't be allowed to happen. It's happened copious amounts of times down this left-hand side for Leicester.
Well, we were talking about it before the game started. Southampton with the worst defensive record in the Championship, despite the fact that they've had more ball than any other team in the division. As we go to 3 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. Leicester stroking it long through the middle for Vardy. And in the old days, he just might have got to that first, but Marwood, Bellis and Manning converged on him. Southampton will play it out from the back and then give it away. Smallbone trying to win it back. Downs can win it back. Armstrong bringing it forward. Fraser making a dynamic run to his left-hand side. Armstrong going alone. A shot that hits Vestergaard. And the seconds don't fall Armstrong's way. It was an injudicious lunge as he tried to make it happen. He fouled Ndidi. And it's a free kick that will be taken on the edge of the box. So for all the fact that they've got this poor defensive record, so many of the goals they've conceded have come from balls in from wide positions or in the air. And it's just been a common theme, and we've seen it again tonight. Leicester trying to expose it, particularly down this left-hand side, with Mavididi really having fun with the big space in behind Kyle Walker-Peters that's always there to attack. Doyle can bring it forward. Dewsbury Hall clipping a delightful ball. It's an exquisite pass. Not his first of the night either. Out to the right-hand side of the midfield where McAteer can bring it down. Player that, despite being in his first full season of first-team football for Leicester, looks right at home. Vestergaard to his left-hand side for Doyle. On loan from Manchester City. As is Harwood Bellis at the other end. Actually making the 100th appearance of his career tonight, Doyle. He's got it again. Just inside Southampton territory. Back he goes to Vestergaard. Doyle in his white boots, clipping it forward for Ricardo Pereira, buzzing around in the midfield. Winks has now dropped out of the left-hand side in this very fluid Leicester formation. Winks goes back for Doyle to Vestergaard again. Justin indicating that he wants the pass. Vestergaard happy to slow it down as Leicester try and soak up the seconds to half-time. We're in the third of the 3 additional minutes. Now Mavididi spins it forward. It's a delightful little flick header back from Winks. Dewsbury Hall gets on the end of that. Winks gives him a second pass. And now Winks has got time just to turn. Mavididi with a great turn past Charles, who committed himself. It's in for Ndidi. Ndidi keeping his feet and slotting it in. It is a brilliant third goal. Leicester dynamic and dazzling, and Southampton unpicked again. They shipped 5 last time out, and they've conceded 3 by half-time at home tonight. Southampton 1, Leicester 3, and the scoreline paints a fair reflection of the Foxes' superiority in this first half.
Oh, it's so good. You're willing them to score in the end. They've kept it for an absolute age. Harry Winks heavily involved, as you said, Jim, popping up left-hand side. Then he wins a really clever header when he looks second best. Then into Mavididi, the little roll. You think he's maybe going to get a strike away, and then the presence of mind, I think, given what's happened in this first half. He's got himself into so many good positions and not been able to execute the finish there. Sublime through ball. Ndidi, infield, lovely little chop. Sticking Southampton players on their backsides, and then just about enough on the finish. What a remarkable goal. Team goal. Wonderful.
It's fair to say, indeed he's not known for that, as the ball was played into him inside the penalty area. You described it wonderfully. Just came onto his right foot, chopped it onto his left the defender sprawling, and then side foots it in with aplomb. It's the finish of a man who scores 25 a season. That's his first league goal since January 2021. 2.5 years plus. It's Southampton 1, Leicester 3. The scoring won't have stopped there. It probably has for the first half. In fact, there's a clash of heads in the midfield, brings play to a stop. The referee has indicated that it is half-time. Dewsbury Hall is going to need some treatment before he leaves the field. Kyle Walker-Peters as well. Well, Leicester started brilliantly. They scored in the opening 20 seconds of the first half. They scored in the final 30 seconds of the first half as well. Both sides exchanged goals in the middle of the period. McAteer giving Leicester a 2-0 lead. Adozie halving the deficit. But Ndidi, with a wonderful finish at the end of a brilliantly worked team goal, has given Leicester a 3-1 half-time lead. Southampton fans can't have any complaints about that, but they have plenty of vociferous complaints about the tactics and the execution of them as their side came off at half-time. Southampton 1, Leicester 3. Ollie?
Well, we said it would be a cracker. We said there'd be goals, and what a treat we've had so far here at St Mary's. A smattering of boos, I think, from the home fans at half-time as well, but Leicester in full control. Their third goal coming at the perfect time, and at the moment they're heading top of the championship. And Sam Parkin, what an electric start it was. 20 seconds gone. It feels like an age away, doesn't it? But there was Jamie Vardy to give them the lead. How fearful were you for Saints at that point?
Yeah, I was. Probably more so a few minutes later when Taylor Harwood-Bellis presented them with another opportunity. I think 2-0 that early on. The way the crowd were shaping up, the way they were voicing their displeasure, it looked like it was going to be a horrendous night at that stage. So I'll credit Southampton maybe in a minute the way that they've made it into a more even contest for a portion of that first half. But yeah, some really bad mistakes. The last goal, I think sometimes you just got to stand back and just applaud and appreciate brilliant football. That's what we're all in it for, isn't it? When moves like that come off. I think when it was building, I was actually thinking to myself, cool, they're better at this, Leicester City, than Southampton, what they're trying to execute tonight. Leicester a little bit more polished, maybe a little bit more quality, and it ended up in a brilliant goal. But yeah, early part of that half is probably everything and more that the Saints fans have been worried about at the start of this campaign.
As you say, some terrific football from Leicester City, but we heard it very early on here in the press box, a Saints fan screaming, sort it out. And of course he was talking about the defence. I mean, you mentioned the mistakes already. How do you sort this out if you are Russell Martin? Because Leicester City have 3 goals already in this game, and as Jim mentioned in commentary, they could have had even more.
Well, I think we've seen, as the half wore on, that there's been moments where Bazzuno's not had an option short, or he's decided not to play short, and he's actually got a brilliant range of passing, and he's clipped a few lovely balls into Adam Armstrong for one. I think you just have to recognise, yes, I get the working on the training ground and polishing the technical aspects of the game, but how much are these players really going to improve in this regard? They're high-level players already. High-level players, and you're maybe just setting them up and asking them to receive the ball when your touch has to be so immaculate. Your timing, especially when you're playing against a real forceful pressing opponent, as Leicester have been in that first half, an aggressive opponent, you know, quick, diminutive players in that forward line who can get after you, aggression. I think maybe sometimes you just got to cut out that first pass, play a little bit longer. I'm not talking about booming it. That's definitely not going to be the way, and I don't think that's the way they're going to change the outcome. I just mean being a little bit safer with that first couple of passes, especially if you've seen from the outset that Leicester have been getting joy nicking the ball high up. So yeah, I don't know where they go from here. I mean, if it ends in, you know, real heavy defeat, then obviously there'll be a lot of questions asked. But I think it's just tinkering with the tactics subtly, probably, because you're not going to get a major overhaul. We've seen that's not the manager's style here, and it has worked to a degree at his previous clubs, and I'm sure that's the way he's going to stick at it this season.
Have you seen enough, do you think, Sam, from Southampton in that first half in terms of going forward for them to maybe get back into this game?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's why I'm sitting here, and it's such a dream to be commentating on a game like this. It's magic, you know, because every time Southampton go forward, they're going to score here. Armstrong, Che Adams, they've all looked dangerous. Fraser for a period. Adozie's been really good, actually, when he's been one-on-one up against Ricardo Pereira. So, absolutely. Yeah, this game could finish 3-3. This game could finish 6-1 to Leicester. I mean, you cannot rule Southampton out from anything this season, and it's because of that potency that they're sitting, I know it's early days, but where they are in the table, because defensively they've been a disaster. But going forward, so fluid, so much invention, loads to like. That'll be the message from Russell Martin. He'll be horrified at some of the defending and some of the decision making, but going forward, oh, no question, there'll be chances here for Southampton in the second half.
As you say, Sam, it has been a dream for the neutral, I might add, to be watching this game here at St Mary's. We'll hope for more goals in the second half. That comes next here on Talksport 2.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League and the English Football League.
And they're coming down the final furlong now. And Long Drive Home is being chased down by I'm Tired. I wish I didn't have to drive home. It's losing ground as Better Get a Travelodge is coming up fast. Long Drive Home is fading as Better Get a Travelodge comes tearing up on the inside. And Better Get a Travelodge takes it!
Sporting event coming up. Better Get a Travelodge. Find king-size comfort up and down the country at travellodge.co.uk.
Morrison's Morecard is your ticket to big savings on big brands, with Morecard exclusives like 160 Tetley tea bags down from $2.99 to $2.49, and a 7-pack of Penguins down from $1.25 to 89p. Sign up and start saving today.
Morrison's to shop at Morrison's.
Majority of stores subject to availability. Morrison's daily varies. Penguins end 19th of September.
Seasoned with Szechuan pepper, Himalayan pink salt, fennel seeds. Now my signature touch.
Oh, come on. Who's got the pockets for all that? To give your salt and pepper chicken full-on flavour, just add a Coleman's recipe mix to whatever you're cooking. They're a spice rack in a pack. For great nosh, for less dosh, cook with Coleman's recipe mixes. Full-on flavour.
Capital One believes that change for good comes from doing one small good thing at a time. So here's one good thing about to happen to Scott O'Brien, who has just dropped 6 eggs off his kitchen worktop. But he's also just found out he's got a guaranteed yes for a Capital One credit card with Quick Check without affecting his credit score.
Great.
At least that's one good thing to come out of this morning. You know what they say, Scott? If you want to make an omelette, you have to break some eggs. Capital One, that's one good thing.
Get more spicy in your life with a free McSpicy. This is actually quite spicy. Simply download the McDonald's app to sign up, and by redeeming 5,500 rewards points, you too could enjoy a McSpicy. Has anyone got any water? 18 plus, only via app at participating restaurants. Redeem points on selected items. Serving times and terms apply. See mcdonalds.com.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the EFL. Live Super League. Catalan's Dragons versus Leeds Rhinos.
Smith gets it away to Austin. There's room here. Bentley going in again.
Tomorrow afternoon from 5 on Talksport 2. The Rugby World Cup Show. Tuesday afternoon from 2 on Talksport 2.
Join me, Tim Cocker, every week throughout the Rugby World Cup as I travel France in a camper van so that you can get as close to the action on and off the field as possible.
He's going to go through and score in the corner.
The views of all the big games, the inside word from the team camps and previews of all the upcoming matchups.
What a strike!
Myself and Alfie Reynolds will also be joined by a host of ex-pros and pundits to keep you fully up to date.
The Rugby World Cup Show. Tuesday afternoon from 2 on Talksport 2.
Feel the power and the glory.
Game day.
And he scored. It's a brilliant goal.
Fired up and raring to go.
EFL Game Day Live
on Talksport 2.
It might only be the middle of September, but this could conceivably be regarded as a crucial match come now. And on the front foot straight away with the ball laid back for Vardy, who scores. And it's taken only 20 seconds for Leicester City to strike. Dewsbury Hall, what a pass! It should be 2-0, it is. Brilliantly taken. And it's all about the quality of the pass from Dewsbury Hall. McAteer running onto it, did the easy bit, drew the goalkeeper, slots it past him. Southampton unpicked again. Leicester running right.
Cannot give the ball away in this type of position against a quality outfit, or this is the outcome.
Now it's been given away by Dawn at the other end, and Dozy is in, and he's clipped it past the goalkeeper, and Southampton are back in the game, and it's another defensive error that has led to the goal. Mavadini with a great turn past Charles, who committed himself. It's in for Ndidi. Ndidi keeping his feet and slotting it in. It is a brilliant third goal. Leicester dynamic and dazzling, and Southampton unpicked again. They shipped 5 last time out, and they've conceded 3 by half time at home tonight.
This is EFL Game Day live at St Mary's. It's Southampton 1, Leicester City 3 at half-time. Leicester in control here, and we'll be here with the second half very shortly indeed. Let me just keep you up to date with some of the scores across the country. In the Championship, there's another game going on. It kicked off a bit earlier than this one. They're about 8 minutes into the second half. It's Hull 0, Coventry 1. Hull with a flying start to the season. They beat Leicester last time out, but they're behind at the moment in their game against Coventry. Another game going on in League 2. They're 8 minutes into the second half of that one too. Salford 0, Notts County 1. David McGoldrick, the former Sheffield United striker, gave Notts County the lead in that game. And at the Rugby World Cup in France, it's an easy streak for the All Blacks so far against Namibia. It's 38-3 at half-time there. All Blacks losing in their first game, of course, to France, but yeah, it looks like they're heading for a win in that one. Now, after we're done here at St Mary's, we're off to California for round 2 of the Fortinet Championship on golf's US PGA Tour. Russ Hargreaves will be hosting Talksport 2's live coverage.
Well, there are two main stories at play up in wine country at the Silverado Country Club in Napa. One is the form of the two members of the US Ryder Cup team who've opted to play this week. Double defending champion Max Homa began his second round just a few minutes ago, hoping to improve on a solid opening 70, including an early double bogey that left the local favourite at 2 under par. Meanwhile, wildcard pick Justin Thomas has been desperate to find some form and momentum after being chosen for the showdown with Europe in Rome at the end of the month, despite a very underwhelming season to date by his lofty standards. JT fired a promising 69 late on day one and is among the earlier starters this time around. Well, beyond the build-up to the Ryder Cup, all live on Talksport 2 of course, the other big issue at play in this autumn section of the PGA Tour calendar is who'll finish inside the top 125 positions on the points list, therefore keeping a precious tour card for the year 2024, and who'll miss out, leaving their playing status massively in question. Aussie Lucas Herbert is one such player, lying 153rd in the FedEx Cup rankings heading in. He could have asked for no more than a brilliant 9 under par opening round of 63 to lead the field at the Fortinet Championship by 2 at that stage. The 27-year-old from just north of Melbourne is back out shortly for round 2 and will be with you right through till 2 a.m. UK time to find out how he fares right here on your home of the tour on UK radio. Talksport 2.
The brilliant Russ Hargreaves there, and Russ will follow us with the golf here on Talksport 2. And don't forget, there's exclusive Premier League commentary right here on Talksport 2 for you tomorrow afternoon as Manchester United host Brighton at 3 o'clock. That's very spicy indeed. Ahead of the game, United boss Erik ten Hag has been speaking to the media about the importance of a positive culture at the club.
Strict line, that is what the point, but the club asked me because there was no good culture before I entered last season to set some standards, and that's what I did. Yeah, then it's my job to control the standards. And of course, it's not, it's never have been as well that someone, when you make one mistake, no, there's a whole process before you come to a certain outcome about strict lines. But yeah, if staff of players or whatever if there's a structure to cross lines, you have to be strong. Absolutely.
Manchester United against Brighton, 3 o'clock tomorrow here on Talksport 2. And we also have plenty more live sport for you this weekend. On Sunday evening, we'll bring you 3 live NFL commentaries back to back.
Picked up, Fields lobs it down the right side to Mooney, end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown Bears!
Good snap, looking to his left, looking was the ball toward the end zone, toward Evans. He makes the catch. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Mike Evans.
Brandon Ayuk! Touchdown! San Francisco!
Let's start the fire right now, baby.
It's a toss left to Akers. He'll go in untouched.
Stewart back to throw. Deep downfield, wide open, touchdown, Tyreek Hill!
Jones takes the snap, he's pressured, throws it left corner of the end zone, Henry, touchdown, Patriots!
Yeah, loads of brilliant action on the way from 6. Chicago Bears are at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At 9:05, San Francisco 49ers are at the LA Rams. And then at 1:20 in the morning, Miami Dolphins are at the New England Patriots. Loads of NFL action on Sunday. The teams are just coming out though here at St Mary's, where Southampton trail Leicester by 3-1, and Russell Martin's side firstly need to sort out their defence, but then hopefully they'll find a way back into this one. One thing's for sure, we're expecting goals in this second half. To take you through it, former Luton striker Sam Parkin and your match commentator Jim Proudfoot.
Well, Ollie, it's not the biggest surprise in the world that we're seeing a half-time change for Southampton. Sulemana is the player that is coming on. Sam Parkin, he's replacing Samuel Edozie, who of course might have picked up a knock, but if he hasn't, I'm really surprised. I thought he was excellent, certainly in an attacking context in that first 45 minutes, but Edozie is off, and Kamaldeen Sulemana, who's been struggling with a muscle injury, comes on for his first appearance of the season.
He's a quality player to bring off the bench. He scored, didn't he, final day of the season, or certainly towards the tail end of last year in the Premier League. So quality, but I thought Edozie was a big problem for Ricardo and Doyle, whoever was presented with the opportunity of having to deal with him one-on-one. So yeah, a bit of a surprise, but yeah, no surprise that Russell Martin's made a change.
Yeah, we're back underway. Leicester City kicking in their all royal blue from left to right towards the chapel end of the ground, where the Leicester City supporters are occupying the right half of the stand as we look at it. Southampton in their combination of red and white shirts with black shorts, and they're defending the northern end away to our left. The ball with Southampton in possession. It's laid back to goalkeeper Gavin Bazunu, who's got Walker Peters, Charles, Harwood Bellis and Manning as a back four in front of him. Smallbone Downs and Adam Armstrong in midfield. Fraser Adams and Sulemana, the front three. Leicester, Hermansen in goal. Justin Vestergaard, Doyle and Ricardo Pereira at back four. And Didi, Winks and Dewsbury Hall in midfield. McAteer, Vardy and Mavididi, the front three. Vardy, McAteer and Ndidi, the scorers of the Leicester goals. Edozie, the player that has gone off, the man that netted for Southampton. Here is Sulemana, who many thought might have played his last Southampton game. A £30 million release clause in his contract. Nobody came in and paid that over the summer. There was plenty of speculation that somebody would, but he remains a Southampton player. Saints fans gave him warm reaction. Glad to see him back. Got a couple of goals in that game against Liverpool that Sam was mentioning at the end of last season. Southampton have a throw taken by Walker Peters. Now he's played it back for Charles. Charles 5 yards inside his own half to Harwood Bellis. Now down towards Manning. Manning to Kamaldeen Sulemana on the left-hand touchline. Ball almost slows down to a stop for a moment. McAteer comes and tries to make a challenge. Manning will try and take it on. Manning has it now. Gets away from the lunging McAteer. And then plays it towards the edge of the centre circle for Charles. Walker Peters letting it roll across his body. He's put under pressure by Mavididi. He's got past him. And now we'll take it on down the right-hand touchline and work it in towards Ryan Fraser, who's swapped flanks for this second half. He's gone out to the right now with Sulemana coming on the left. Smallbone has it. Right-hand side of the penalty area. Back from him to Downs to Adam Armstrong, but too much on what was the right ball for Fraser down the inside right channel, but he overhit it. And he goes out of play for a goal kick. Going to be taken by Hermansen, the Leicester City goalkeeper. Southampton 1, Leicester 3 here on Talksport 2 in the company of the long-time EFL striker Sam Parkin.
Really good start to the second half from a Southampton perspective. Kept the ball well, and then just a change of pace really on the far side. Carl Walker-Peters exchanging passes with Ryan Fraser, and as you said, it was a difficult pass to execute. The right ball, Adam Armstrong a little bit on the swivel, trying to play with a bit of disguise, and it runs through harmlessly, and now got another injury issue.
Yep, it's Downs who is needing treatment, and obviously the message already got across that he's not going to be able to continue because Charlie Alcaraz has been stripped and is ready for action, and he's going to be coming on for Southampton. Another player that made a really bright impact in the second half of last season, having arrived at the club and actually scored the winner in this fixture last season, the Argentinian midfielder who signed from Racing Club in a £12 million deal, and he's going to come on to replace Downs here early in this second half. What it does gives me an opportunity to remind you of what is coming up tomorrow and over the course of the rest of the weekend here on Talksport. A reminder that the EFL action continues tomorrow night here on Talksport 2, Cardiff Swansea, and then Sunday lunchtime it's Millwall Leeds, which kicks off at 12. 2 belting games. A game day exclusive tomorrow morning, build up as always, starting at 11. Faker others in the chair ahead of Wolves Liverpool, a 12:30 kickoff. Wolves have only won the one game so far. Liverpool unbeaten in 15 as they arrive at Molineux, and the former Arsenal and England defender Martin Keown's alongside Sam Matterface for that game tomorrow. At 2:30 Game Day Live with Adrian Durham, Trevor Sinclair and Ray Parlour. All the goals as they go in from the Premier League and the EFL, including Manchester United Brighton, Spurs Sheffield United and West Ham Man City. Don't forget your classified results service at 5. Here on Talksport 2 tomorrow afternoon, Manchester United against Brighton, not on UK TV. Only place to hear it is here. And then Monday night, Forest against Burnley. The build-up starting at 7 ahead of a 7:45 kickoff. Southampton in possession from the restart. And Shea Charles, having stepped up from the defensive line, just pulled to the ground there by Harry Winks. It was a touch on the cynical side. He's going to get a yellow card for it. Southampton have a free kick about 8 yards outside the Leicester box.
Actually worked it well, Leicester, using the goalkeeper. And then the pass into Dewsbury Hall was a good one, and that's what I want to see from centre-halves. Shea Charles aggressive, probably for the first time tonight in front of Dewsbury Hall, shoved him to the deck. That's how they need to approach the battle with Jamie Vardy. Wins the ball there, strides forward, and as you said, gets a little clip or a little pull from Harry Winks, definite free kick, and presents Southampton with a good opportunity from a centre-half doing his job, being aggressive.
Yeah, it was well played by Charles. I think could have guaranteed when he came out for the second half it would go better for him than the first half did. But he's risen to the task well. Instrumental in winning this free kick, which Alcaraz is eyeing up only seconds after he's come onto the field. Had a good goal-scoring record last season. Alcaraz, 5 in 26 games from midfield for Southampton, including a couple of very impressive ones. He's got one already this season against Gillingham in the League Cup. Now what can he muster from here? The Argentinian's got a 2-man wall to get it over. He hits it right-footed past the wall, but well past the far post, and out of play for a goal kick. 6 gone second half. Southampton 1, Leicester 3.
Yeah, didn't quite get his angles right there, but he looked like a really good player start of the season. I know that the Southampton supporters hold him in high regard even after the outcome of last season. So it'll be interesting to see the dynamic of that midfield, the setup of that midfield, second half. I imagine Smallbone will be the deepest one now, and Alcaraz can try and get forward with Armstrong and get some sights of goal.
And he might consider himself a little bit unlucky that he's just given a free kick away there for a foul on Dewsbury Hall. There seems to be a bit more uniformity about the Southampton press at the beginning of this second half, and it's causing some more significant problems for Leicester. Here's Vestergaard. Long right-footed ball forward from him. The idea was right. Dewsbury Hall acknowledged that, but pass slightly overhit, and it rolls through for Gavin Bazunu away to our right-hand side.
That's a good example of a team mixing up, Jim, and in the first half we've not seen much of that from Southampton. The goalkeeper's just actually been pressurised into kicking there, but Vestergaard and Doyle we've seen releasing quite early. Doyle nearly got Jamie Vardy in the first half with a brilliant crossfield ball, and there Vestergaard, something Vestergaard's always done actually when he's got time, he's got a brilliant range of passing. Why not? You know, because the opponent's not going to be expecting that. If you've played short for the majority, every now and again, just test those defenders. Are they on their mettle? Are they on their toes? Are they anticipating? And there, very nearly Dewsbury Hall getting in on the shoulder.
Yeah, he's got a different battle now up against Alcaraz than he had against the Downs. We'll try and bring you a clarification of Flynn Downs' injury as soon as we have it. Southampton struggling, like Leicester, with injuries at the beginning of this season. Here is Dewsbury Hall trying to get inside the Southampton penalty area, but it's knocked away on the right-hand side of the box by Charles, and it goes out. Southampton tonight without Bednarek and Stevens, and still Ross Stewart, the new signing. His debut for the club lies ahead after his £10 million move from Sunderland. Larios hasn't played for the thick end of the year now. Leicester without Dennis Pratt. They've got Conor Cody back, and he's on the bench tonight. Or may see him on for his Leicester debut in his first championship appearance for 5.5 years later. He is on the bench for Leicester this evening after his summer move from Wolves. Ball is with Adams. Adams flicking it forward. Armstrong will make a run. But Ricardo Pereira was there first. Guides it back for Hermansen. Hermansen just chipping it right-footed down towards McAteer, who saw the ball get large on him pretty quickly there, and he inadvertently controlled it with his chin rather than his head. Got it all wrong, and it just bounced away from him. Goes out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Southampton left. Dan Crowley's given Notts County a 2-0 lead at Salford, so it looks as though they will be top of League 2 tonight. 2 points clear of the field. But they'll all have a game in hand, which they'll play tomorrow. And all the EFL goals as they go in on the fastest score service on your dial tomorrow. Game day live at 2:30 over on Talksport. Here on Talksport 2 tonight, we play 10 minutes of the second half. A little bit of mist beginning to wisp around the floodlights now, as it tends to do. We're only 100, 200 yards or so from the river here, and not much further from the sea in the grand scheme of things. It does tend to just roll in the evening. Ball played in by Armstrong, finding his goalkeeper Bazunu. Smallbone kept his nerve. It was against Leicester that he picked up his horrendous injury a few years ago. It's been so good to see him back, and back in form as well. Had a great season on loan at Stoke last year. Justin, play forward through the midfield, but straight to Alcaraz. He finds Adam Armstrong. The Saints captain brings it forward, but just presents it to Vestergaard, who got his defensive angles right, and Doyle will lay it back for his goalkeeper, and Leicester again will be able to play out from the back.
Yeah, I mean, territorially and in terms of possession, Southampton on top, but not been able to make chances in the opening sparring of this second half.
Saints have it again. Smallbone to Manning. Manning down towards Sulemana. Sulemana picking it up and then going up through the gears, going the long way round. James Justin pulling it back in. Vestergaard did well to react, because the cross was coming in slightly behind him, and he flicked out a right boot to acrobatically volley it away. And he goes out for the first corner of the second half, which is Southampton's 7th of the game. Still Leicester leading by 3-1.
Felt like he needed Ndidi or McAteer there to help him out defensively. Did all right in the end.
In comes the corner from Fraser. It was too low and flat into the near post, and Vardy easily heads it away. In the Bundesliga, approaching full time, Bayern Munich 2, Bayer Leverkusen 1. Harry Kane scored again earlier tonight. Goretzka has scored what may well be the winner for Bayern. They lead 2-1. Still Hull 0, Coventry 1, with 20 minutes of normal time to go in that championship game. Latibodier's first half goal, still the difference between the two sides. Salford 0, Notts County 2 in League 2. And here Southampton 1, Leicester 3. Well, indeed, he's going to come off. And Cesare Casadei, on loan from Chelsea, is going to come on for Leicester. Their first change, Sam Parker.
Yeah, indeed, he's done really well. I think in not his most natural of positions, and I know that's been a big conversation amongst the Leicester support. Is he going to be able to carry that threat, really, which I think Maresca demands, really, from the players playing that position? Well, tonight he's certainly done so. We'll see if he can do it over a longer period. Casadei is that type of player, loves to shoot from distance, not really a dribbler, 1 and 2 touch, obviously got the physical capacity to get in and score from crosses as well.
Now Sulemana has it, left-hand side of the penalty area again, and he motions to cross and doesn't. That deceived Justin for a moment, but he recovered quickly. The Leicester fullback, laid back for Manning, his ball in, half cleared. Out towards Smallbone forward, Armstrong flicking it down. Sulemana on his left foot, eventually got the shot in. Miskicked it the first time of asking, still had time to try and deliver. Leicester clear, out for Manning. Manning doing really well. An awkward bouncing ball on the touchline. Flick it over the head of McAteer. Finds Smallbone, who goes back for Harwood Bellis. Now to Charles. Southampton dominating possession for the first time tonight, but still trailing by 3-1. A result that will take Enzo Maresca's Foxes top of the table if it stays this way. Bazunu does mix it up again. Looks longer. 40-yard ball forward for Sulemana. Sulemana taking on Justin. And he's clearly relishing the opportunity to do exactly that. Has it again now, the Southampton number 20. Back for Smallbone. Smallbone to Alcaraz. Alcaraz, a clever little reverse ball. Adams on the turn. Comfortably saved, though, by the diving Hermansen, who could just collapse onto the ball. And with a minute until the hour mark, it remains Southampton 1, Leicester 3 on Talksport 2.
Bit of variation in their game. As you said, Bazunu has got that wonderful range of passing. He's got to use it more often, and there's no one better than Che Adams at that. In the second tier, I would suggest the lack of backlift, the quick touch and release, and he worked the goalkeeper just not hard enough there.
Armstrong. Play down towards Sulemana. Southampton beginning to build up a head of steam, and Sulemana has looked very lively since coming on. Manning chipping in inside the penalty area, headed down and just taken away from Adams, but Armstrong's in and blazes over the bar from a tight angle. The form that he is in, you would have expected him to at least hit the target and force a save out of Hermansen. Came to him quickly. The bounce did him no favours, just ran away from him very slightly. And the bearded Geordie couldn't wrap his foot around it.
I think forcing the issue, though, closer to Adams than he probably has been throughout proceedings. So he's there for the little flick, takes it well enough, and maybe just a little on the stretch. Just looking for that real firm contact, I suppose. Yeah, it's on the way up by the time he connects with it, hence why it flies into the stands.
So winning a draw for Southampton in their 2 home games so far this season. If they were to be able to come back tonight and pick up a positive result, it would be the first time in 7 years that they've gone unbeaten in their first 3 league games. Might not happen, though, because Mavididi is in and has blasted it wide. Great interplay through the midfield by Leicester. Another defence-splitting ball. Mavididi using his pace, getting behind the high Southampton back line, and he was through one-on-one. Had so much time to think about it, but just opened up the right foot too much. And Vardy's exquisite ball counts for nothing. Sulemana puts it Mavididi, I beg your pardon, puts it wide, and it remains 3-1.
Yeah, I think Vardy wants the square pass, isn't it? Oh, it's on. It's such a bad decision. I can't tell you. The chip's not even on. If he's going to finish from there, he has to go round the goalkeeper. Easy with hindsight, I know, but he's got to go around the keeper, or it's got to be a side-foot finish, just arc it around him. The chip wasn't even on, especially not on his right foot. Jamie Vardy furious he didn't get the square pass.
That could be a big moment. Could be 4-1 for Leicester. It remains 3-1. And Southampton are on the front foot again with Adam Armstrong. Armstrong on the left-hand touchline. Sulemana. Only 5 yards away from him. Smallbone in close attendance as well. He goes backwards, and the few in the crowd took exception to that. Smallbone then getting into a position to receive the ball again between the lines. Now works it down towards the left-hand side. Sulemana's got more space. His ball played inside the penalty area. Easily headed away by Vestergaard. Headed by Smallbone, back for Harwood Bellis. Harwood Bellis behind square for Charles. He goes all the way back for Bazunu. Bazunu on the edge of the D, just outside the penalty area. Now looking long again. Sulemana the target, Justin heads it away. Russell Martin acting as the ball boy in his black t-shirt on a very mild night here on the Hampshire coast. Throws the ball down for the throw to be taken quickly. Manning. Back for Taylor Harwood Bellis. Manchester City loanee to Shea Charles, who cost 15 million from the same club over the summer. Coming in off the flank is Fraser. Fraser is flitted in and out of the game. Sulemana has been right on it since coming on. Getting into a central position. He's still 25 yards out. So many bodies to try and squeeze it past for a shot, but he's found Fraser. Fraser tries to drive it in. Justin defended that really well. Comes for Smallbone, trying his luck. That's straight down the middle of the goal, and Hermansen can make a comfortable save. All Southampton in terms of pressure. Leicester an omnipresent threat on the counter-attack, and they still lead 3-1.
Nowhere to go, really. The deep set Leicester, no gaps, hence why Smallbone had to take the strike on from distance. Actually, it was well defended, James Justin, on Ryan Fraser's intended delivery just a few seconds prior to that, but Smallbone unable really to get the pace or the direction to trouble the Leicester goalkeeper.
And that pressure applied on Ricardo Pereira by Alcaraz. Southampton winning it back inside the penalty area. Hermansen beats the shot away. It'll come down after Fraser's attempt to Shea Adams. Adams behind square for Smallbone. Smallbone to the corner of the box for Sulemana. Sulemana again, getting away from Justin, firing it in, too close to the goalkeeper, too far away from Adams. Out of play for a goal kick.
He's starting to make chances though. Fraser with that stinging effort at the near post, well repelled by Hermansen, and that was the right pass once more from the left-hand side. Sulemana cutting in as he has done, at will really in this second half, and Che Adams had pulled away to good effect. It wasn't a difficult cross. Probably shouldn't have overcooked it there. It was a good chance.
Well, our producer Carl Rowley here spotted something that I didn't see. A couple of Southampton fans went down to that Saints technical area and just having a go at some of the substitutes, and their anger was clearly heard by the Southampton managerial team as well. Tempers running high, but Southampton not out of this. Manning can't find a way through. Armstrong with a shot. That was very well blocked by Vestergaard, who allows himself a discreet little fist bump on the back of it, and it remains 3-1 to Leicester. Their lead still, over the balance of the entire game, richly merited. But for missing some really good chances, they might have had 6 tonight. But they haven't quite been able to put the game to bed. Both of these sides, on the strength of what we've seen tonight, so much better going forward than they are at the back. Charles, back for Harwood Bellis. Southampton have already had a 4-4 draw this season. A game here against Norwich in which both sides led. Leicester have had the exclusive advantage in this one. They've led since 20 seconds in. Here's Armstrong winning a throw, which will be taken right in front of us. We're situated midway inside the half that Leicester are defending in this first half. Abdul Fatawu is getting ready for action. His number 18 shirt visible away to our right-hand side. He's just getting his final instructions from Leicester's Danny Walker and Willie Caballero, who up to the end of last season was Southampton player, now Leicester assistant manager. Sulemana, left-hand side of the box, trying to get past Justin, wins a corner. Well, we were surprised that Adozi came off, Sam, but Sulemana has been superb.
Yeah, been really good. That was expert defending from James Justin, just when I thought he was going to commit himself to a challenge, go to ground potentially, and give away the penalty kick. He absolutely stuck to his task there just to concede the corner.
We've had 25 shots tonight, and more than half of those have been on target. Southampton just with the majority. Corner taken short. Sulemana, oh, he's given it away, and Mavididi will be able to make his way forward, and he's got past Smallbone, and he's got 2 either side of him, and he's running 50 yards, 60 yards, 70 yards, fires it in. 4-1 Leicester. Classic counter-attacking goal. And it was something that we talked about in the first half, the fact that Southampton on attacking set plays keep so many bodies forward. And when possession was turned over, Leicester could rampantly run up the field. Sulemana couldn't get back, Smallbone couldn't get back, Mavididi went 30 yards, 40 yards, probably a full 50, 55 yards before drawing the keeper, slotting it past him. It's Southampton 1, Leicester 4.
Sulemana's mistake. You're right though, Jim, I don't want Will Smallbone back there, being the safety there, being the safeguard, because he hasn't got the pace, the athleticism really. That said, it's wonderful stuff. Mavididi is a flyer when he gets going. I can't believe he shot. He's got Dewsbury Hall square of him to the left. I thought he's surely going to just pass it to his left-hand side where Dewsbury Hall would have had the open goal, but credit to him. It's a brilliant, driven finish into the far side netting. Wonderful goal from a player. I tell you what, he's been exceptional tonight. Carl Walker-Peters won't have a tougher game all season. Brilliant goal.
Well, on the back of the goal going in, the same fan was down angrily making his point to the Southampton staff, dressed in a slate grey t-shirt and angrily wagging his finger. Security very quickly on the scene. It was a peaceful protest, but one that was heartfelt. I wonder exactly what words were used. Another gist of it. Southampton on the back of that have made a change. Fraser has come off and he's been replaced by Stuart Armstrong. Leicester haven't made their changes yet. Fatawu will be on very shortly. Just over 20 minutes to go. Southampton 1, Leicester 4. Southampton can't say they weren't warned, because Leicester spurned a really good opportunity to make it 4-1 only 2 or 3 minutes prior to that. Mavididi the guilty party that time, but he made up for it with an excellent finish. Steffi Mavididi making it 4-1 with his second goal since his move to Leicester. And those are the Leicester fans that you can hear. Those that have travelled down, around 3,000, I would say, away to our right-hand side, in wonderful spirits, as well they might be, because they're going to have 15 points out of a possible 18 at the end of the night, and they'll be top of the table. Here's Casadei, can't find McAteer, and the ball goes out of play. Might be McAteer that comes off here. Fatawu is going to be coming on, and indeed it is Casey McAteer who will make way to be replaced by the Ghanaian international winger who's on loan from Sporting Lisbon. He's only 19, but they've bought him and have a got him on loan. They've got a £12 million option to buy him at the end of the season. He made his debut as a second-half substitute against Hull a fortnight ago, and he comes on for McAteer, whose efforts are being applauded and vociferously praised by the travelling East Midlanders away to our right-hand side. 20 to go on Talksport 2. Southampton 1, Leicester 4. And Southampton have now conceded 9 in a shade under 2 games.
10 minutes or so ago, Jim, I was thinking if it goes 4-1, I don't think this game's over. Honestly, that's the way I've been feeling throughout the proceedings tonight. I think Southampton have got so many goals in them. We saw that in evidence in the first half. They should be sitting on more than 1 goal. But now, what are we, 70 minutes in? It's going to be very difficult now for Southampton to rally.
Here's Stuart Armstrong trying to do exactly that. First contribution from him, making his way forward. His shot is blocked. Shea Adams hits one. That hits Vestergaard. Great acrobatic clearance from Ricardo Pereira, which was as important as it was dramatic. An overhead kick clearance from inside his own penalty area before it fell for Adam Armstrong. Alcaraz makes his way forward and wins a throw, which will be taken over on the Southampton right. In the Rugby World Cup, incidentally, New Zealand have got 9 tries tonight. They lead Namibia 57 points to 3, well into the second half of that game. This one still Southampton 1, Leicester 4. Leicester surely bound to record their first win on this ground since the 9-0 win 4 years ago. 4 years ago next month, on a dank, filthy night here on the south coast, and the one that every Southampton fan I know is sick of it being constantly still being brought up, but it does have a relevance tonight. Here's Stuart Armstrong. Stuart Armstrong down towards Manning, and Fatu's just pushed him to the ground, just a little bit over eager there, and then Manning reacted. Fatu coming back into position, and Manning pushed out a left hand. I'm not sure how much contact was made. Fatu will get back to his feet now. Manning was daft in pushing his hand up in the first place, and Fatu made sure the referee realised that contact had been made.
Yeah, it looks like Fatu may get the yellow card. They've both got one each. They really, in terms of the rule changes or what they're clamping down on, the gamesmanship in terms of that, Jim, I think going down too easily, feigning injury, they've been quite hot on that in the games I've been at, and I think that's evidence of that there.
So that takes the yellow card count up to 5. And both Fatu and Manning in the book for that. Leicester have got another mouth-watering game next. They go to Norwich, and Southampton have got Ipswich here next, as the ball is played forward down the Southampton left-hand side. Ball out of play. It's a throw which will be taken by Manning. Level with the edge of the penalty area. Stuart Armstrong waits for the throw. It goes in towards Alcaraz instead. Back from Manning towards halfway. Taylor Harwood-Bellis picking it up, going back behind square for Shea Charles. Charles to Alcaraz in the midfield. Alcaraz back for Charles once more. Charles able to turn, and he will go back to his goalkeeper. And Bazunu will look long because he had no alternative really under a little bit of pressure. Vestergaard on halfway can just cushion a header down, and Fatu will be able to take it on. late equaliser for Hull. Hull 1, Coventry 1 at the MKM. I'll confirm the scorer for you in a moment. Southampton in possession again with Adam Armstrong. He'll play forward towards Alcaraz. Alcaraz going for goal, but couldn't find the corner. Got the elevation right, got the dip just spot on, but it was easy for Hermansen to make a pretty comfortable save. Incidentally, remember to tune into the Weekend Sports Breakfast over on Talksport tomorrow morning. Natalie Sawyer and Tony Cascarino will be with you from 6. They'll keep you across all the big sporting stories and headlines. I'll also be joined by former Wales fly half James Hook to get his thoughts ahead of Wales-Portugal in the Rugby World Cup tomorrow afternoon. Here's Dewsbury Hall taking it on towards the edge of the penalty area. Referees played the advantage, played forward towards Vardy by Mavididi. And there was no advantage in the end because Vardy couldn't get a shot in. Dewsbury Hall having his legs swept away from him right on the edge of the penalty area. And Southampton might just have got away with one there. You can understand why Bobby Madley was going to play the advantage in that position. It just didn't work Leicester's way.
No, surprised that Dewsbury Hall didn't just shift it a little earlier. I think they're just all trying to get in on the act now, especially when the wide open spaces are presenting themselves to Leicester City on the counter-attack. Could have got worse for Southampton.
It was Aaron Connolly, incidentally, that got that goal for Hull. Hull 1, Coventry 1 at the MKM. Leicester leading 4-1 here at St Mary's. Dewsbury Hall. Now towards left-hand side for Mavididi. Mavididi will play back once more to Ricardo Pereira. And one final thought about Leicester's big win here 4 years ago. It was only about 3 months after that the two sides met again in the East Midlands, and Southampton won the return game. Danny Ings instrumental that day, if my memory serves me correct. So they won't be out of this title race by any stretch of the imagination, Southampton, but Leicester look the real deal. Now the referee has stopped play here, and he's coming over to the technical area, and he's shown a yellow card to Enzo Maresca.
I didn't see anything go on. Should we be booked for, too many people being in the technical area maybe? No, they've shown tonight, Jim, I think they've not been making enough chances, maybe not enough chances of good quality. They've shown tonight how devastating they can be. Mouth-watering really, I think the options, what we've seen from those two young guys in the wide positions, and now Fatawu coming into proceedings, who by all accounts was their standout player last time out against Hull. Everyone's really excited about him, so the way they've got in, especially when it's become a bit more counter-attacking, they've looked so fit, so devastating, and if they've been working on that final end product, it's certainly come to fruition tonight, and they need to take confidence from this. I'm sure they will. That's a big part of football as well, isn't it? They've not been scoring freely. Moving forward now, all the ingredients coming together.
There's been such a good response to the frustrations of that game against Hull, where they had 21 shots but only 1 on target. Shot count on target tonight for Leicester almost in double figures. Adams linking up the play well for Southampton here. Played down towards Kyle Walker-Peters on the right-hand side of the penalty area. He's got 4 to try and pick out in the vicinity of the box, but ends up giving a free kick away. That was really well done by Mavididi to get back goal side and make life difficult. Southampton will make another change. Joe Aribo is going to come on to replace Che Adams. Aribo, who has scored in a European final in his career back in his Rangers days, and he will come on to replace Che Adams with 13 minutes to go.
Yeah, maybe just Adam Armstrong just shifted up front, and Aribo playing an attacking midfield role. I suppose that's a product of Adams having the international games in the minutes, so maybe just being a little looked after by Russell Martin. Now the game's probably gone.
Not particularly with another game coming up Tuesday, as I mentioned, Ipswich here. And Ipswich, another side that have had such a good start and will fancy their chances. Have we seen the potential championship champions tonight?
I wouldn't want to go too early, but it's a bit of a statement, isn't it? I think everyone would have looked at tonight, given we've had a few weeks of the season. First time 2 relegated sides have met this season. Window closed. It's a proper opportunity, isn't it, for the managers to blood maybe what's going to be the 11s or close to moving forward. So especially in attacking positions, there's work to be done defensively, unquestionably, and we've got Conor Cody potentially to come back in at Leicester, so that could change. But going forward, the options, just a little taste tonight, isn't it, with Daka, Iheanacho, the wide guys that I've already spoken of in the last few minutes. So there's great options there.
They've scored 11 this season now in their 6 games. Or late into their 6th anyway. Here's Casadei with a little layoff. The tall Italian finding Fatawu. He couldn't get past a decent challenge which came in from Sulemana. Southampton will try and get going through the midfield again. It goes out towards Aribo. Aribo has got 3 to his left, and he's got Walker-Peters on the overlap. Still Aribo goes, played in Walker-Peters. Armstrong trying to get in at the near post, and the goalkeeper has kicked it behind and out of play for a corner.
Yeah, really good from Joe Aribo. The release was perfect. The timing of Kyle Walker-Peters' run, and just a fraction too heavy, maybe a bit too straight, needed to be dragged back into the 6-yard box for a one-touch finish from Armstrong, but Hermanton on the spot to make the intervention.
Southampton preparing to take this corner. It is their 3rd of the second half, their 9th of the game. The left-footed in, swinging towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Harwood Bellis was the target. It was knocked away. The counter-attack could be on again there with everybody pushed forward. Stuart Armstrong, the deepest of the Southampton outfield players, was 15 yards outside the penalty area, but he could deal with it as Leicester threatened to break. And that was how the 4th goal came. Ball goes out of play. It's another throw that will be taken over on the far touchline. I mentioned earlier, the last 8 seasons, the Championship champions have been one of the sides relegated from the Premier League the previous year on 5 occasions. You'd have to say, the very least, well, there are clearly others that have an outstanding chance. What we've seen so far in this Championship season, Leicester are the most likely of the sides that came down to win the title, if that run's going to be extended to 6 in 9. Southampton will bring it forward with Aribo, who's taken station on the right flank. He's got the chance to run at Ricardo Pereira near the corner of the box. Played in towards Stuart Armstrong now. Stuart Armstrong trying to trick his way through. He's got a couple of Leicester players around him, including Dewsbury Hall. He could affect the block, and then he'll work it back for Justin. Justin clears, and it hits his teammate Fatawu and actually breaks back Justin's way. He then gives it away again, knocking it straight into the path of Aribo. Aribo turning one way and then twisting back the other, finding Smallbone. Smallbone to Aribo again. Aribo to his left-hand side. Armstrong, Alcaraz can't ride the challenge of Winks, lays it off for Armstrong once more, twisting to get into a shooting position but can't. Manning playing it forward. Sulemana, who had such a lively start when he came on, just sees the ball run away from him. His efforts have fizzled out a little bit over the last 10 minutes or so since Leicester went 4-1 up. And the Foxes can launch another attack on the left, and they're going to make a triple change very shortly. We'll be saying Iheanacho, Chowdhury and Yunus all coming on very shortly for Leicester, who still lead here on Talksport 2 by 4 goals to 1. Vestergaard down towards James Justin, as you will gather from the songs from the Leicester fans. A few of the Southampton faithful beginning to file out and make their way home. Very disappointing night for them, very disappointing start to the season. 18 league games now without a clean sheet, which is a record that stretches back to a match at Old Trafford back in March. Here's Shea Charles inside the half of the centre circle, down towards Stuart Armstrong, and he's missed Manning with the pass, and it goes out of play for a throw. Sam Parkin, the long-time EFL striker, alongside me. Any positives as far as Southampton are concerned tonight? I mean, clearly none at the back, but from an attacking context, will they look at this and think that there's things they can grasp hold of for the games coming up?
I think there's great quality there, so they'll always be optimistic. I think they're going to cause opponents problems, but until they polish up what they're doing at the other end, more than anything with the ball, the way they're building, how they're going to move forward from tonight, which has been a bit of a horror show in the first half, you have to say. So I think it's hard work on the training ground, not in terms of the endeavour, but problem solving and just working out between Russell Martin and his team how they're going to look to start attacks, because tonight they're just not quite at it, are they? They're not quite up to it, they're not quite controlled in what they're trying to do, so they're not going to rip it up. We know that. They're not going to rip it up and start again a completely different style of football, but little alterations need to be made, otherwise this will happen again.
Well, Leicester have made that triple change. They've taken Winks, Dewsbury Hall and Vardy off and replacing with Chowdhury, Yunus and Iheanacho. So a triple change being made by Enzo Maresca with 6 minutes of normal time to go. Here's Cassidy trying to drive forward for Leicester, but Shea Charles was there and he's able to get it back to his goalkeeper. It's finished. Hull 1, Coventry 1. The other game in the Championship tonight, that was a 7:45 kickoff. Late equaliser from Aaron Connolly in that game, making it Hull 1, Coventry 1. The Sky Blues had led through an hour through Joel Latibaudiere. Hull will be 5th at the end of the night, Coventry 11th. Leicester are going to be top with a good goal difference as well. Could be better yet. Fatawu out to the left-hand side of the box, taken on here by Mavididi. He's just klimped it in, but it's headed away on the edge of the penalty area. And Southampton can get it clear. Chowdhury, with a shock of black hair, is able to get there and lay it back inside his own half of the centre circle for Doyle. Doyle now to Justin. Justin forward over halfway. Fatawu under a little bit of pressure. Cassidy taking it on, finding Ricardo Pereira. And then the layoff from Yunus, another one of the summer signings, and it'll be played forward down the inside left channel once more for Leicester City. Turned into the feet of Kelechi Iheanacho. But the move quickly breaks down. Southampton winning it back and smuggling it back for Gavin Bazunu. Leicester will be top of the Championship. Notts County are top of League 2. They won 2-0 at Salford. They ended up with 10 men in that game, but they've won it by 2-0 at Salford. In fact, Salford also ended up a man light, and the main set off for Notts County Burcoat for Salford, both in stoppage time. Notts County 2 points clear at the top of League 2 after that, and New Zealand 64, Namibia 3 is the latest score in the Rugby World Cup. Southampton able to bring it forward. Adam Armstrong just onside as he receives the ball on the edge of the box. Couldn't work the angle to get a shot in, and Justin, who's defended really well tonight, just came across and chipped it clear, and he goes out of play for a Southampton throw. The ball boy very eager to let Saints take the throw very quickly, and he threw the ball with too much vigour way over the head of Manning, so it delayed the restart by a good few seconds or so. Cassidy putting the pressure on Manning after the throw. Manning back for Harwood Bellis to Charles. Charles playing it forward. Russell Martin applauding the efforts of his side as Manning drives it forward, looking for Armstrong, but it's headed away by Doyle, and Justin can bring it out from the back for Leicester. 3 to go, Sam, and the points are going to be richly deserved.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a semblance of control, I would say, from Southampton in this second half without laying enough punches on the goal, and they've been caught by 2 counter-attacks. I think Russell Martin will see some progress from what they've done in the second half, absolutely, given what I've just said. Leicester have not carved them open. It's been different to the first half in that regard, but it's the variety in Leicester's game. That's the contrast to me. A lot more vertical passing, especially from the 2 centre-halves. Not seen that from the Southampton duo back there. It's all been back to the goalkeeper, side to side, whereas Leicester play forward. They know that their strength's in the wide position in particular.
Justin finding Cassidy here on the edge of the D, but he found Will Smallbone, able to stick out a foot to knock it away. From him to Stuart Armstrong. Armstrong looking for Walker Peters, but Doyle gets it away. Doyle poking it forward, and Southampton can get the ball back under control. Now, Russell Martin in his press conference ahead of this game said that he watched the Sunderland defeat 4 times. He said it was painful, he said, but if you want to achieve anything in life, you have to suffer the pain and make the most of it. And unfortunately, that's manifested itself as more pain for Southampton tonight.
Sorry, Jim, we've spoken a lot about what they've done with the ball, but it's the other side as well, isn't it? It's the aggression.
Here's Stuart Armstrong, left-hand side of the area. Sulemana, and he just waited a moment before getting the shot in, and that allowed Justin to come back and effect the block. More good defending by Justin, stopping Sulemana getting an effective shot in on goal. Sorry, Sam.
Yeah, the aggression, Russell Martin spoke about it after that defeat at Sunderland. I think the 5th goal encapsulated the performance. Too weak, not enough people strong enough in the challenge. And I think tonight we've seen that as well. I think the centre-halves in particular in the first half were bullied by Jamie Vardy, so I think that can improve as well. I think in the midfield position, I spoke about it at the start of the game tonight, not having that real ball-winning type in there. Could maybe argue Leicester don't have that. Indeed, he possibly playing a slightly different role, but I think Southampton lack that strength a little bit through the core of the side. With all the problems that we've seen in the first half, the way they've built, the way they've been sloppy and presenting Leicester with opportunities, I think he maybe needs to rethink that as well, the makeup of the team. Tonight, not been strong enough, I don't think at all.
A minute of normal time to go, and Leicester good value for a 4-1 lead. Southampton with Smallbone inside the centre circle. Charles and towards Aribo on the Southampton right. Adam Armstrong on the edge of the penalty area, awaiting, hopefully, that a ball will be able to come in for him. Aribo back for Stuart Armstrong. Aribo taking the ball on the half turn in towards Alcaraz. Alcaraz tried a little wall pass with Adam Armstrong. It didn't come off, and Leicester smuggle it back to their goalkeeper. A reminder that our live EFL action continues tomorrow evening. Cardiff Swansea here on Talksport 2 kicks off at 7:45. Sunday Millwall Leeds, also exclusive to Talksport 2, and that kicks off at high noon Sunday lunchtime. Premier League wise, it's Wolves Liverpool tomorrow at 12:30 over on Talksport. Manchester United Brighton here on Talksport 2 at 3, and Monday night Nottingham Forest Burnley, as Burnley look for their first points of the season. Will they come in the East Midlands? 7:45. Sam Matterface and Danny Murphy alongside Adrian Durham Monday night here on Talksport. We're into 6 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the game. Southampton 1, Leicester 4. All over by the shouting. That fourth goal killed Southampton off and cemented a very impressive result for Leicester. But Enzo Maresca, learned his game from a coaching point of view really under Pep Guardiola. He will have learned so many of Pep's habits, one of which is never be happy. Even when everything is going well, there's still much that can be improved upon. What will he have been looking at from a defensive perspective? How easy is it going to be to rectify the shortcomings that we did see on occasions at the back for Leicester, particularly in the first half?
Something to work on, isn't it? I think they got a little bit slack, maybe took one or two liberties when they were in such a commanding position, so we haven't seen evidence of that, I don't think, to a great degree so far this season. The problem early part of the campaign was maybe pace up against them in behind those two outside centre halves when they are set up in the three, and I don't think that's been in particular evidence tonight. So yeah, I'm sure he'll be pretty balanced about it. The main thing was to start making more chances and converting more chances. I think that's what he spoke of during the break, and he's had that and some tonight. They've looked incredibly threatening from the first minute, continued in the second half, with those couple of opportunities on the counter-attack, and there's some outstanding forward players who seem to be coming really into form. So yeah, I think that's his biggest takeaway, surely, to take the confidence from the goal scoring on to the next batch of games.
Southampton will bring it forward again, and they have continued to try and drive forward. They've been willing, if they haven't always been able. The crowd of just a shade under 29,000 here at St Mary's at the start of the night. There's nothing like that here now, but those that have made their journey down from Leicester are still here to a man. Ball played inside the penalty area for Adam Armstrong, who stretched but just couldn't bring Manning's perceptive through ball under control, and Leicester will be able to bring it away. 17 shots to 12 in Southampton's favour tonight. They've had 8 attempts on target each, but the XG, Leicester's XG 3.5 compared to Southampton's 1.5. The chances that the Foxes have created have been excellent. They've scored 4, and they could have had more. And you think back to a couple of glaring misses. This could have been an even better night for Enzo Maresca and his side. 3 minutes of stoppage time to go. Free kick that Doyle will take on the edge of his own penalty area. Here's Southampton 1, Leicester 4.
It'd be interesting to see how they set up the next game. Yeah, of course, the personnel, but more so that intricate shape that we saw in the first half with Walker-Peters going into the midfield role. I think Mabadidi has caused him so many problems, and I think that has sometimes been a product of his position where he's found himself. Because if he's in direct combat with the wide player, yes, you can get beaten one-on-one, you can get done by a trick, athleticism or whatever it may be, but I think if your starting position is wrong, what chance have you got? And I think that has been to the detriment of that battle over on the far side as we're looking at it now. Mavididi has led him the old merry dance. I think as tough a game as Kyle Walker-Peters has had this season is likely to have. He's been brilliant, Mavididi.
And Mavididi, the one-time Arsenal youngster, had a spell play for Juventus's B team, but ripping it up at Leicester. 71-3 in the rugby. That's a result for New Zealand against Namibia. So a big victory. Just counting how many tries they ended up with, 10-11 in total. 11 tries tonight for the All Blacks. 71-3 victory against Namibia. 4-1 Leicester lead. It might be 5 in a moment. Fatawu bringing it forward, and it's played in for Iheanacho, who has almost inexplicably blazed it over the bar from 8 yards out.
Again, it's some sight when they're bearing down on goal. They're moving it so quickly. Fatawu this time, the architect of the opportunity. It's not a clip and it's not a strike. It's in between, isn't it, for Iheanacho? He's got a score. When he takes it beautifully onto his left side, you expect him to find the net. So, poor miss from him.
Scored the winner in the FA Cup semi-final for Leicester against Southampton a few years ago. He got a couple here in the game in 2016. Stuart Armstrong under pressure has given it away. Leicester will work it back inside the box, but the cross from Mavididi, one of his rare bad contributions of the night, he just chipped it onto the roof of the net, and that was again Southampton trying to play out the ball into the midfielder facing the wrong way inside his own penalty area, very quickly put under pressure. Armstrong gave it away, but it could have been worse from his perspective where he presented Leicester with the ball. The Foxes couldn't make the most of it.
Another great opportunity to extend their lead. I mean, the previous one, Iheanacho, I had the benefit of seeing it back. I think possibly Bazunu got something on that. Certainly the ball deviated away from the target.
Now Fatawu again, after winning possession back into the feet of Iheanacho, but Charles knocks it away on the edge of the penalty area. We're deep in the 6th and probable final added minute. Stuart Armstrong for Southampton. His namesake Adam making a run to his right-hand side. One back by Leicester. And there was a late challenge. Sulemana diving in on Justin, and he's sent off. Justin down hurt. Sulemana making an attempt to get the loose ball towards the edge of the penalty area, and he's been sent off by Bobby Madley right at the end of this game.
Immediately, it feels like the right decision. That looked ugly, that looked rash, it looked unnecessary. Last seconds of the game, I can't believe he's gone in for it. I can't believe he's gone in for it in that manner. It was wild. Haven't had the opportunity to see it back, but there doesn't seem to be too many complaints. I think it's high. James Justin will be fortunate if he escapes without injury here.
Well, he's had horrendous injury problems, Justin. He is helped back to his feet. It's done nothing more than superficial damage by the look of it, and he's should be able to continue okay. But Kamaldeen Sulemana will leave the field, sent off. They've only just got him back after injury, and he now gets a 3-game ban.
Just a completely unnecessary challenge. It looked like a challenge made by a forward who's not used to making challenges. Well, I don't think he catches him particularly high. Just seen it back. He catches him, but it's not as wild as I actually thought it was.
One of the last 6 league meetings between these two sides here, Southampton have had players sent off in 4 of them now. The ball played from the free kick, which Smallbone can head away, and listen to the Southampton reaction. That's from the fans who are still here. They shipped 5 at Sunderland. A fortnight later, they shipped 4 at home to Leicester. This battle of the two sides, relegated from the Premier League last season, comprehensively won by the Foxes, who make it 8 wins in 9 games either side of the summer break in all competitions. They maintain their perfect away start of this season. 5 away wins in a row they've had since Enzo Maresca came to the club, and they're top of the championship tonight. They led for all but the opening 20 seconds. They blew Southampton away quite magnificently. Goals from Vardy, McAteer, and Ndidi and Mavididi. That is a statement win. Southampton 1, Leicester 4.
Jim Proudfoot, thank you very much indeed. Leicester have soared back to the top of the Championship, and how a thumping win down here on the south coast. Some slick attacking football. A truly fantastic night for the Foxes as the players shake hands on the pitch. Some serious questions though for 10-man Southampton. Another disastrous defensive display. They conceded the most goals in the league before kick-off. You can add another 4 to that tally now. We've seen frustrated fans take aim at Russell Martin just outside his technical area earlier on. Some fans voted with their feet as the 4th goal went in just before the 70-minute mark. A mini exodus came early on here at St Mary's. But Sam Parkin, from a Leicester City perspective, what a brilliant away performance.
Yeah, they'll be thrilled with that tonight. They've obviously limped over the line in some of the victories so far this season. It's not been perfect. It wasn't perfect tonight, but in an attacking sense, it really was at times. Let's not forget that they've scored potentially one of the best team goals you're likely to see this season. Brilliant goal from Ndidi, and some of the performances from their attacking players were sublime. I thought Dewsbury Hall was back to somewhere near his best. Mavididi was exhilarating when he got going towards that Southampton back line. So yeah, we heard Maresca, didn't we, pre-match, talking about the improvements he'd looked for and had been working on during the break, and it was certainly in evidence tonight. It was a brilliant attacking display. Still not the complete polished article, but you're not expecting anyone to be really when it's a new side, only 6-7 games into the season. So job really well done.
Yeah, the Leicester City players lapping up the applause from their away fans, whilst the Southampton players trudge off the pitch. Some good attacking play at times from them tonight, Sam, but they were far too open at the back. 9 goals conceded in 2 games now. How much pressure already do the last 2 performances put on Russell Martin, in your opinion?
Puts pressure on the next game, I think. They need to bounce back. They need to... Does it become more? It becomes more than the result, maybe. It's the performance I think they'll be looking for in the next game. So it's going to be a challenging few days, but what we do know is that he's confident, he's very forthright in the way he wants to play. And like I said, I think the training ground is just making 1 or 2 alterations. He's not going to start again, is he? And completely change the style. So yeah, a lot of work to do.
And the other thing that doesn't help him, Southampton's home form has been desperately poor for years. And they only won 2 games here all season last year. One of those actually against Leicester. They took 11 points here. Been absolutely thumped tonight. That is the first home defeat. But when you look at it, their home record now stands 5 home wins in 25 games in all competitions. So the fans that see them week in, week out, just see them lose more often than not. And that in itself adds pressure. So there are a lot of ingredients. Can you say a manager is under pressure after 7 games? That seems, in some ways, it seems quite counterintuitive, particularly after the merry-go-round of managers they had last season. But that pressure will come. If they lose at home to Ipswich here on Tuesday, I think that pressure will intensify.
Sam Parkin, a last word from you. Have we seen the potential Championship champions tonight in Leicester City? It's early on in the season, but that was a fantastic performance. 8 wins from 9.
Yeah, it's more like maybe what we anticipated from Leicester a few weeks ago. Maybe that's unfair on a new coach who's, battling, trying to keep players at the club and sign a few as well before the window closed. So that was really exciting. Obviously in the first half they added to the spectacle with some comical defending, so he won't be best pleased about that. But as an attacking force, I thought really good. I thought there was some great individual displays. I thought the midfield balance was really good. Encouraging, definitely encouraging. And over to Leeds, Norwich, who else fancy themselves being a contender this year.
Sam Parkin, Jim Proudfoot, thank you very much indeed. Well, it wasn't quite a repeat of the 9-0 we saw here 4 years ago, but tonight we saw another thumping win for Leicester City. They've flown back to the top of the Championship. A game filled with goals. What a way to kick off a big weekend on the Talksport network. I've been Ollie Klink. Thanks for your company this evening. Remember, the Sports Bar is over on Talksport now with Adam Catterall and Jermaine Pennant taking your calls. If you're a Saints fan, you might already be in your car. You might want to get in touch. 03717 2233 44 is the number to dial. Coming up next here, though, on Talksport 2, we have live PGA Tour golf with the second round of the Fortinet Championship with Russ Hargreaves.